out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuned in to Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me in effect as always. We got Stranger Danger back this week. I don't know where she been for like the past 3 weeks, but you know, Stranger Danger is back. What's up, P?
Not much, Kill. It's good to be back.
All right, no doubt. I got my brother Vague out of BK. What's good, bro?
It's good, man. Show it.
All right. JR, the R&B guru who is locked up right now. Like the boy Avon said, you only do 2 days, a day you go in and a day you go out. We got you when you get out of Twitter jail. But what is the new Twitter, your new tweet right now so they can get it?
My new Twitter, JR R&B rep.
All right.
So JRRNB rep. Yeah.
All right, get with them. Let's get them back up to full capacity. Tone from Into the Dome. What's good, bro?
Cheers, good people.
All right, no doubt. You already know what it is with me. Let's jump right into it. So the other day, here's the thing for everybody out there who asked me this. Like, Kill, where's the best cheesesteaks in Philly? If I tell you where the best cheesesteaks are in Philly, please do not go and get a chicken cheesesteak and then call me and tell me you don't like it. I didn't send you where you should go to get a chicken cheesesteak. I sent you where you should go to get a cheesesteak. I don't co-sign chicken cheesesteaks because I don't eat them. You know what I mean? So this had me talking with one of the people on Twitter, and I was like, he's like, yo, where can I get a good cheesesteak from? Like, he like out in the Midwest somewhere. And I was like, I don't know, bro. You might as well just make one. So I'm giving him my recipe, but when I'm giving it to him, I'm very specific. I'm like, you got to use this. You got to use that. You got to try to find Omaroso bread. I don't know if they have it out where you at, but I'm like very specific with the ingredients. And it had me thinking, what are the missing ingredients from hip hop right now? If there are, y'all may feel like hip hop is perfect, ain't nothing wrong with it, you know, whatever, we'll talk about that. But what are the missing ingredients in hip hop? And then, of course, with JR here, R&B too, if you have them. So that's what today we're talking about, everything like that. We want to go into detail with the ingredients and figure out, you know, what's wrong. P, it's so dope to have you back. Set us off, please. What's one of your missing ingredients in the game?
Oh, man. I'm going to start with the first one, and I apologize if I take somebody else's, but chemistry between producers, MCs, and featured artists. And what I mean by that is, like, as a listener and as a fan, I can hear when the content that is being put out is disjointed. So it sounds like you guys are not really even maybe just talking like once a week, but you guys want to jump on each other's stuff, and you know, it was sent over and it was kind of like, I don't know, this verse was made like, you know, submitted like maybe 4 months after this one was. It just sounds really disjointed. Like, I think what's missing is that chemistry that comes from being physically together in studios, in person together, hanging out, or even just, I don't know, like not even just hanging out, being friends or like forcing a friendship, but even just to discuss what the album's going to be, how many tracks is it going to be, like even the little stuff, or even just on the phone, something that can indicate that you guys are sort of connected in a way. And I think
Right.
that's missing heavily. So that's my first one.
Nah, I concur 100%. I mean, quick example, even this Pete Rock album, when Pete tweeted about it, I was like, well, I hope, you know, these two dudes will be in the studio with each other, and it's not just sending beats back and forth. So, you know, it went from my interest being not into it at all to like when Pete just posted the picture of them two and him on the MPC, I'm like, okay, this is dope. Like now I'm getting a little excited for this. Maybe Common's getting his writer's bag, being there with Pete. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. Anybody else any thoughts on the chemistry piece?
Yeah, I mean that's on point. I was gonna say the same thing. I think that's probably pretty universal too, man. Like Portia said, everything it seems like it's thrown together like salad. You know what I'm saying? Like hopefully it'll stick, but you can tell a lot of times. Like back in the '90s, a lot of MCs have been in the studio together, even when they weren't making songs together. They just talking and vibing. And so if somebody decided to say, okay, man, throw that beat on, that energy and that chemistry is naturally there. You know what I'm saying? It's organic. And now, like she was saying, you can tell some people are just emailing verses in. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound fresh.
Right. JR, I know that was one of yours.
Yeah, it's like that with R&B as well too. Like y'all said, back in the '90s, it was like the producer and the artist actually was in the studio together. They were telling their story. They were able to go back and forth and things like that. So when you got the album, you felt the chemistry. That's why it's like, ooh, you want this artist to continue to work with this artist because of the chemistry that they have. You know what I mean? So it's just like now, it's just like you can tell, okay, they sent that file in, they put that together, and then they put the record out, and that's it. And if they ain't got no video, they probably ain't meeting on the video shoot, so they ain't nothing there either. So it's like, you can tell, like I'm feeling. So if I feel the record, it's like, oh, you can feel like they were in there with each other. They were, going back and forth or whatever. But now you feel it. You like, they weren't together when they made this. This don't even feel right. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why chemistry is definitely one of mine for real.
All right,
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
No. You got it, Tom.
You saw how like even when Nas and Hit-Boy was doing KD3 and Hit-Boy was playing his beat for Nas, and Nas turned around and looked at him like, damn, dog, you know what I'm saying? Like he was like into it. You know what I'm saying? Like they was in the studio making those records together. And I think that's the difference between like what Hit-Boy and Nas was doing as opposed to like when Kanye and Nas was doing that Nasir. I mean, I know some people like, I hate the shit, but it was like, it sounds like they barely collaborated.
I hate that shit.
It was thrown together. You know, Kill as a producer, shit wasn't even mixed all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like it was on the way to the release joint, and he was still mixing the shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they were never together when they was making it. But Nas and Hit-Boy were together, and it showed a lot of video of them recording together. And I think that's one of the reasons you got the quality, and not Nas saying, "I'm gonna take that beat right there." People can say, "Nah, let's leave that one alone and work on this beat right here." You know what I'm saying? So it's just better because it's together.
Now, the one thing I will say about Nasir, that probably had one of the dopest album release parties I've ever seen, like in the brick. Like I thought that was dope. But I know me and what's Kanye's daughter's name? East or West or whatever. We the only two people who like that album. So I understand. I got you. Vay, were you gonna say something about the chemistry piece?
No, I agree with all the points everybody else made. So yeah.
Bro, what's good, bro?
It was good. What's going on?
Everything good. And it's funny when you're talking about people being in the studio. Rel and JR was just at the crib, and it was a prime example of how being in the studio, because I'm playing beats for him, and it's like, oh, I want that. Like, oh, I would have never sent that shit to you. I would have never sent that, because as a producer, you think you kind of know what somebody would like. Like I always tell a story with MOP. Like I probably had 29 MOP handcrafted beats for them when I gave them that beat CD, and that Rude Bastards beat was just like the last beat I just threw on for the hell of it, and that's the beat that they picked. You know what I mean? So you really don't never know what somebody's gonna pick. So being in the studio together, just being able to run ideas off each other, we should try this or we should try that. It just presents not just cohesion, but I just think it makes for a better product. Because there's sometimes MCs will send me something and I'm not in love with the verse, but I'm like, these dudes don't pay for studio time. Do I want you to go book studio time again and just fix one little thing? But if we was here together, we could have fixed that. So P, I totally agree with you 100% on that. The first thing I got is I feel like the ingredient that's missing is I feel like, and this is really from the fans, is that the standards are so low. Like I feel like it's like, if you're on a deserted island, you'll eat a hot dog and treat that thing like it's a sirloin steak just because it's just, you ain't got nothing else to eat. And I feel like that's how a lot of like people be like, yo, that album is crazy. And I'm like, damn, that shit's like good at best. But it's like, yo, like, are your standards that low that it's just like you don't like it? Like I'm like, yo, anything impress y'all motherfuckers. Like niggas say Cat in the Hat, niggas rhyme two words together and it's like, yo, they a legend. Like, yo, you heard that bar, and it's like, bro, like good lord, like are the standards just that low that is just y'all just will take anything anybody gives to you? You know, and I feel like now more than ever, because I feel like name recognition has always been important. Probably by the time we got to the 90s. I feel like the 80s, it was a lot of new groups coming, so names weren't that important. You could just turn on Rap City and be like, damn, who this kid? Kwame. Never heard of him, but yo, it looks dope. Like, but by the time we got to the 90s, names were important. I won't hold you. When All City's 12-inch came in, I know who All City was. I saw produced by Pete Rock, produced by Premier. We playing this shit. Like, so I totally get that a name holds weight, but I feel like the name holds so much weight now that it's just like the name is more important than the music. You know what I mean? Like, I know we were just playing beats on IG Live. Remember, what was that joint? That joint I called Boldy. And I was like, yo, if Alchemist would have done this beat and Boldy James was on this beat, niggas would be jumping out the fucking window. Same beat, but it's like, oh, you did that, Kill? That joint, that shit cool. That shit cool. But if Alchemist did it, oh man, man, you hear how Alchemist did that? So I just want, and again, this isn't for the actual artist, but this is my like challenge and my plea. I'm beseeching that the fans like hold people to a standard, y'all. Like, be mad when shit ain't like. I tell people, if you brought out the bar for you and your little man or you and your daughter to go see Steph Curry play and you done got courtside seats and that nigga dropped 12 points and 11 turnovers and he 0 for 9 for 3, you gonna be pissed off. Why? Because you paid, you want to see Steph do Steph. You know what I mean? So the same way, like when your artists don't give you what you want, be pissed and be like, nah, bro, that ain't it. That ain't what I paid for.
Hey,
and then
I'm sorry.
What's up? No. You got some.
You know, I think the celebrity now is bigger than the product. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, especially with social media, everybody in a rush to rate. You know, like some big artists come out tomorrow, even if they haven't heard it, but one time it's automatic instant classic. You know, like Benny the Butcher, I'm sure will get 5 mics tomorrow from half of his fans. You know what I'm saying? I think he'll come out tomorrow, right? Well,
here's the wild part with Benny. I don't know. Benny's been going back and forth with his fans on Twitter because niggas have been checking him like, yo, these shits ain't it, bro. And like, and it's sad to see.
His shit was gonna be like DMX then got mad at dude for actually retweeting his own words. That's been a problem. He'll say something. Then someone will say something about what he said, his own words, and then all of a sudden, y'all corny, y'all whack, y'all haters and all. You know, Benny does that sometimes. But like I said, you know, a lot of people look at the celebrity over the product. Back in the day, it didn't matter who it was. If your shit was whack, we'd be like, man, dude dropped a whack album, dog. It don't matter how big that person's name is. Like, yeah, go back to the studio, dog. That shit ain't hit. And now it's like, they celebrity, so it's whatever.
And that's the thing, too. It's like, Kane is a prime example of that. I was the biggest Big Daddy Kane fan in the world. Had the high top fade. My nickname in high school was Big Daddy Kill. Like, I loved Kane, but when that Taste of Chocolate came out, I was like, this ain't it. And then by the time Prince of Darkness came, I was like, like, nah, bro. Like what the fuck? Like, and I think we all were like that. I think everyone was shocked when they saw the Don't Curse video and that nigga had on a purple silk shirt and a bottle of champagne. Like, we was like, so again, but like you said, that wouldn't happen now. You know what I mean? Because people, I really think it's social media. Like, boys really be thinking they friends with these dudes. You know what I mean? And God forbid, if they favorite rapper follow them, oh nigga, we family. We have Thanksgiving.
They gonna tag them. They tag them all the time. I mean, I hate that shit in my mentions all the time. You tag them like I'm gonna change my opinion. I don't care if you tag something. It don't matter. I'm gonna still say what you say. I respect you, but still. Right.
So I mean, I think that's a big thing. So I just need people to just raise their standards back up. And then for R&B, it's simple, man. Where's the love, man? Where's the love? I always ask my teens, like, yo, what are y'all walking down the aisle to when you get married? Woo. Like, and I know they would always talk about JR. What's that song? It was like a duet. It was
about her and Best Part.
But here's the problem is everybody goes to that. That's all they got. That's the only card. You see, I just said, what's that duet? And you knew off rip what it was because that's how few and far we got love songs. You know what I mean? And I think that's just what I miss. I mean, dog, I don't care what hood you was from during the 90s. That music made you want to fall in love. You know what I mean? You listen to BBD, When Will I See You Smile Again? Even Jodeci, the bad boys of R&B, which I get, but I never got because Come and Talk to Me. Like, Forever My Lady. Like, damn, yo, I knocked you up, but you know what? I'm going to hold you down. Like, my nigga, it's not like these niggas was like, I knocked you up. Yo, what's your number again? Like, it was like, yo, I'm going to hold you down. Like, stay. You know, all those songs was about love. And I just think like what I see working with teens is a direct correlation of them not seeing anything about love whatsoever. What Deion Cole say, he was like, after 7, it's like, I give you my heart, my stars, my love is a fountain. It's like, he said nowadays, like, I give you this dick. Like, that's all I got for you. Like, there's really nothing else left. So, I just think that's definitely a missing ingredient with R&B. Veg, what you got?
All right, I think a missing ingredient in hip hop and probably R&B in some respects is originality. And this is producers and artists, because I feel like now everybody's chasing a brand so much that they rather keep the formula the same, even if the formula resembles another artist or another producer, because it's guaranteed to be a hit or it's guaranteed to make radio or whatever it may be. And it just sucks because now the lifespan, and just speaking on rappers, the lifespan of those rappers is so quick, right? Because everybody's especially when you look at the female MCs, everybody's the person of the minute. What happened to Scarlett, right? Everybody loved her for 2 seconds. Everybody loved Glorilla for 2 seconds, and they come out with more music, but it's not the same energy because it's the same damn songs and the same beats all the time. So I think and I got another one that kind of relates to that, but I think if true producers with talent and true artists with talent would look outside of that, like that's why I like Hit-Boy so much. His beats are such a variety of different styles. He can do what radio wants. He could do what underground wants. He could do something that's a little different or something that's hasn't been done in a while. And I think you need more range in hip hop, just not this one thing. So everybody's so focused on this, and it really becomes like the hot newness as opposed to the music just being dope. And those times when we discovered new artists, it wasn't just this person, it was everything about them. You know what I'm saying? That you was into, and I feel like you don't really get that now. And real quick, that also goes for you boom bap niggas.
Oh my God!
I swear, all of these niggas sound exactly the same. They talk about the same stuff in the same ways. People who get away with it, like Westside Gunn, just has a very unique voice, but his content is not that different from others. So in a lot of ways, it's just across the map. There just needs to be someone who stands out to make something a little different, so.
Hey, Veg, Hit-Boy doing it, and they said he his drums ain't boom bap enough. I mean, we've seen that. And Hit-Boy been making a lot of variety of beats, and it still ain't good enough for the damn backpack boom bap kids.
But see, Tone, that's what I don't get, because y'all know me, I'm drums. If you ain't got drums, I don't want to listen, but I don't got no beef with Hit-Boy. Like, even when people, in the beginning, of course, I was one of the people who, of course, nobody wants to admit this now, 6 albums later, but I was one of the people who's like, Hit-Boy and Nas, like, oh, fuck, here we go. But I was easily the one to be like, oh, shit, I was wrong. Like that, these two got amazing chemistry or whatever like that. And the crazy thing is that I don't know what beef people have with his music. Like, it's weird to me, because I think at the end of the day, it goes back to name recognition, but in a different way. Because when people look at Nas, they still want him with Premier. And I'm like, no, that's the last nigga I want him with. Like, that ass. Like, they want him with Large Professor. I'm like, yo, when's the last time, I love Paul to death, when's the last time you heard a Large Professor beat that just fucked you up? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, I don't understand what people don't like about Hit-Boy. Like, it's really weird to me, and I try to understand it, but I really think it's just that name recognition that them Nas fans still want him with the Illmatic lineup.
That's all it is.
Yeah, like, because Hit-Boy is doing...
Hit-Boy,
I don't know. Y'all tell me. Because y'all Nas fans, do you think Hit-Boy not saved Nas' career, but kind of took it to another level? Because the last album out he had was Nasir, right? Before the King stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
And everybody but me hates that album.
Oh, well, the lost tape shit.
Yeah, the lost tapes.
Right.
But
you know what's funny? That wasn't even good, Kill. And it had Alchemist. It had P-Rock on there, and all these people on there. And Lost Tapes 2 did not pop off. And you know, I'm the biggest Nas fan. That shit to me was not good at all. But it had all these big names on it. You know what I'm saying? Kanye, everybody's on Lost Tapes 2.
But would you say what would you say Hit-Boy did for Nas's career? Did he save it? Did he give him another? Would you say, JR?
A resurface to me.
A resurgent?
I'm gonna say the same thing like JR said. I think it was a resurgence, and I also think that, you know, as great as Nas is, even with LeBron James, for example, passing Kareem, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, I think Hit-Boy took Nas one more notch up in terms of creativity. I think he finally got comfortable wanting to make an abundance of music. I think he gave him some energy and stuff like that I don't think nobody's given Nas in years. I haven't heard him rhyme like this since Life Is Good. I think that was 2012. So he put a battery in Nas back. And I think that's because they're in the studio together. I think he actually liked Hit-Boy as a person. You know what I'm saying? I think the energy was perfect. So I think he elevated Nas. And I know people don't want to hear that. But to a degree, I think that he pushed Nas. And Nas kind of said it in some of the lyrics of some of the albums. You know what I'm saying? In so many words. So I think he took Nas to another level with that chemistry that Michael and Quincy.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. JR's resurgence, yours is elevated. Rel, what do you feel Hit-Boy did for Nas's career? If the last album, let's just say Nas tapped out with Nasir, because I think these 6 albums have I know a lot of people have said these 6 albums have put him as their number one, easily. So what do you think Hit-Boy did for Nas's career?
Energized.
If you had a word, energized. Okay.
Energized and pushed them further. For me it was already, but for some people it wasn't. It made the argument stronger for him to be, number one.
All right. Porsche, what do you think Hit-Boy did? Or if he did anything, you may think
I think much like everybody else, I think he kind of refreshed Nas. And what I mean by that is if you think about, let's go back to what Tone was saying about the Lost Tapes album that came before Nasir. You had Nas with Alchemist and Pete Rock and all the producers that we would typically think that we want to hear him with. But if you think about it, they're all in the same demo, right? Nas and Pete Rock and Alchemist and these guys are all sort of the same age. Then comes in Hit-Boy. He's 20 years younger than these guys. 10 years, 20 years younger than these guys. Hit-Boy is tapping into a very different demographic than, and not only is he not tapping into a different demographic, but he's able to get a different demographic to notice what he's doing. So whereas a lot of times I feel like younger generations may dismiss old heads because of, they're old, they're has-beens, it's old school, whatever the case. So I think that's what Hit-Boy did to Nas, is that he kind of refreshed him in that way of age, if that makes sense. Yes, Nas is his age and still doing great things, but it took somebody like Hit-Boy to bring that out in him. And it goes back to what everyone else said, resurgence, energized, all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
All right. Veg, what do you think Hit-Boy did for Nas?
I agree with Porsche. I think it kind of boosted his career to another level. Most of us, probably even him, didn't think he could reach at this stage in his career, mainly because of what Porsche said. These, not to say that this happened in every case, but like we said earlier, these beats were probably being emailed to Nas, these other dudes, or the studio sessions were kind of going to work and clocking in on the 300th day or whatever, regular shit. But with Hit-Boy, he had a younger energy. He knew Nas, right? He wasn't just a young cat who wanted to make beats. You could tell he knew Nas as a performer. Mm-hmm. And what Nas needed most was a producer, because you could tell there was a hunger in him to do something, but he just wasn't getting it. And that's why we were getting songs here and there and not really in albums. And here you got this young cat not only giving you dope beats, but he know the game. He know how you should say things. He's giving you current references that won't make you sound like the old dude trying to sound young. You kind of sound hip to what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was him kind of producing Nas. I thought Kanye was going to produce Nas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not just give him beats, and have him pick it, but just really like, yo, try this flow. Because I guess the number one example for me was when you heard Nas on a trap beat prior to this Hit-Boy stuff, it was terrible. His flow was all over the place.
Out of pocket.
It just didn't sound good at all. Then when you heard King's Disease 1 and he did it, it was like, oh shit, I like this. This sounds crazy. So, and it made some people like those style of beats also because it bridged the gap. So I feel like Hit-Boy did him a service. He's still not my GOAT because y'all know who my GOAT is. It's LL Cool J. But he might be number 2 because goddamn, 6 albums.
And for me, I would use the word he gave Nas his passion back, because I think the thing that got me the most was like the way he was putting out these albums. Like back in the day, you go 2, maybe 3 years without a Nas album. You know what I mean? Where it was like, oh shit, another album? Like, oh damn, another album? So I don't know, what's the time frame? It's 6 albums in how many years?
Shit, like 3.5 years. What?
Yeah, like 3.5.
Right, like that's
incredible.
That's an amazing output right there from somebody who's usually delivering an album every year and a half to 2.5 years. Like that's a huge, and I think it goes back to what everybody was saying was that like Nas wanted to rap again, and then we talked about this on the other show where it was just like, I'm sure with the massive, with all his financial planning and all that stuff and his investments, you also have a weight lifted off your shoulders where you can just do you. You know what I mean? You're not having a label like, where's the radio song? Where's this song? Shoot that video. It's like a sense of like almost like financial freedom that I can do whatever I want. You know what I mean? So I definitely think he brought the passion back. So all that to just say that for all the people out there killing Hit-Boy, I don't know how you can, because you just heard 6 different people give you 6 different things this man did to put Nas to a point where you could say this is some dude I heard in 1991 and now it's 2024. You know what I mean? And he's still here and just gave you a 6 album run. That's something we've never seen done before. So I don't know how cats get mad at Hit-Boy if he could give somebody that kind of run. Like I don't get that. That's like get mad at a coach that just took you to the championship 6 times and you won 4. You know what I mean? I wasn't feeling these last KD 3 and the Magic 3, so I'm gonna give him 4 chips. But he took you to the chip game. Like if a nigga take you to 4 Super Bowls, nigga, how you mad at that boy like that? You know what I
guess
mean?
one more thing, Phil.
Yeah.
Just real quick, and also just give Hit-Boy one more little piece of love. Him and Nas did 80 songs, right? 80 songs in 3.5 years, 4 years, whatever. That's not even counting the other projects, full-length project that Hit-Boy has done over the last couple of years. So you can
talk about that burden of proof with Benny.
Absolutely. So you can look at the last 5 years. Hit-Boy has made hundreds of songs. I mean, that's prolific, man. Where you have to start looking at him in the light of the legendary producers of the culture. This shit is unreal what he's doing in the last 3, 4, 5 years, man. That some of our favorite guys that we talk about on Twitter all the time, they didn't have outputs like this. This is the shit that RZA and Premier was doing in the 90s with back-to-back albums, full-length albums. You haven't seen people do Alchemist doing that in the early 2000s and stuff. This is rare stuff that Hit-Boy is doing right now, man.
Yeah. And I mean, he ain't stopping. He's doing half his album with Benny tonight. So, and again, and Porsche, she was in one of our groups, right? One of our Twitter spaces. Yeah, because that's what he felt some kind of way because I said I ain't believing that nigga. I'm like, nigga, how the fuck you get mad at me? I said you proved me wrong, nigga. Like, we was doing Twitter space about, what was it, Porsche? About one of the
we were actually reviewing the King's Disease.
King's Disease, yeah.
And he popped up in the room, and I'm like, you, Tone, I don't give a fuck if you in the room. I'm gonna tell you how I felt. Like, yo, when I heard you was working with Hit-Boy, I was like, oh, here we go. And he felt some kind of way. He like put it on IG and all that shit. And I'm like, but nigga, you ain't put the part where I said like, yo, you proved me wrong. Like, how you get mad at a nigga for saying, yo, I'm wrong. You was right, and you did a good job.
Because they didn't hear nothing but the first part, dog. Same way Cannabis came at me on the flowers post I did for his ass. You know what I'm saying? He waits. We giving him love all the way through. He saw one comment I made when I said, like, yo, certain people say dude might be hard to work with. I don't know. I heard that. Then he comes at me. We have a and I'm like, so you didn't read the other like 500 comments to everybody, including myself, saying you was one of the greatest ever in '97.
But you know what it is, bro? And I've said this before. Ye said it's hard to be humble when you're stunting on a jumbotron. These artists have never had a space like social media where people can just jump on a dick every day, all day. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm not giving them a pass, but I'm just saying, like, I know it's got to be all day, every day you jump on this app. People are just like, you the best, you the best, you the best. And the one time one nigga say, but that time I didn't like that song. Like, niggas lose their shit. Like, yo, what the fuck you mean? Like, you ain't on my dick too? It's like you couldn't get that before. Big Daddy Kane didn't know how much love that nigga got in Philly until he came to Philly to do a show. Like, you wouldn't know how much love North Carolina had for Rakim until he came. Yeah. But to you get on, they're able to get on social media, and every single day you have thousands of people telling you the shit. It's kind of it's kind of like the shit where I used to. I'll never forget this. It was this nigga named like Cliffy Clinkscale. It was in Vibe magazine, probably about 20 years ago, and he was like the number one fourth grader in the nation. And I said, God damn, this little nigga is 10 years old, already in Vibe magazine. You're already being called the number one fourth grader in the country. By the time this nigga get to high school, you ain't gonna be able to tell this nigga shit. Like, niggas been on this nigga dick since he was 10.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And again, I'm not trying to give people no pass or no, but it's just, I also do understand that if people have been telling you the shit, everybody been telling you the shit since you was 10. Nigga, by the time you get 18, ain't nobody gonna be able to tell you shit. That's why we got the NBA full of niggas. Oh, you don't like the way I play? Fire this coach. Like, get rid of him. Fuck that. Like, because in their mind, they've been told they was the shit since they was 10.
AU and YouTube did that to them.
Right. You know what I mean? So, not to give any, breaks to these dudes, but it's just like, I get it. Like, 100 niggas on your dick, the one nigga who's not. It's like, oh, look at this nigga. You hate. You gonna say, Pete?
Yeah, just to clarify, Hit-Boy did put the part where you kind of said that, but what he focused on in the caption of the post and what kind of weighted the comments was, they still sleeping on me, or something to the effect of they still don't believe in. There's something that kind of highlighted that portion of it. And so everyone focused on that because you said it, his caption reiterated it. And even though he posted the whole thing where you did say he proved me wrong, this is dope, Hit-Boy's great, you said a lot of really positive things in that clip, but no one really, except for maybe a couple people in the comments were like, no, but he public, like, it's dope that, he's admitting this and that. I just want to clarify so that people don't come at you and be really kill. He did post, you know how everyone is. So I just wanted to say.
I don't get how somebody, like Tony, if you said, man, I ain't know if Kill in Vegas album was going to be good, but man, that nigga Kill proved me wrong. What the fuck I got to be mad at? Like, I don't understand where, like, if anything, that should be like an extra thing. Like, yeah, nigga, I proved you wrong. See, Tone, you don't know what you talk. But all you did was focus on me saying, like, I didn't think. And my nigga, if we keep it in a being, 90% of hip hop was not looking forward to no Nas and Hit-Boy album. Right. Like, they just wasn't. What you gonna say, babe?
I was gonna say one thing that I think plays into why he might have felt that way is because of what happened with him and Kanye and how financially he was in a bad space before this run with Nas and all of that. Okay. So I think that fueled him to this point. So that's kind of like he's just on that train, right? Like, oh, negative, absorb it and put out this hot shit. And so I think it's some of that with some people, because I think Griselda and when I say Griselda, I'm just talking about Benny, Conway, Westside Gun. For the most part, I think they do that a lot, where they antagonize like fucking invisible bloggers or whatever. I don't even know why they say bloggers. Nobody fucking blogs no more shit. It's just a lack of education on that end, or public relations people who could say, wait, before you tweet that, here's the context. So you can say, you can't call your fans nerds because they talking about, Nigga, you are not going to be bigger than DMX on Def Jam. You will not. But I get it. You know, pump yourself up like a fighter, but just don't antagonize the people who are supporting you. Like in your case, where to me it's easier. Well, not easier. It's better to hear someone say, "I doubted it," and then I was proven wrong, than to just hear someone gush over the shit. Because most of the time now, you can't even trust that. Like, did you listen? Half these people aren't listening. So,
So, and I think you said it earlier. I realized that it was when Jay did the Magna Carta album, and it was during the NBA Finals, and that commercial came out. And I'll never forget, people were already giving it 5 mics. Like, if you went to Apple Music before it even came out, people already had it 5 stars. And I'm like, number one, Apple, why are you letting people rate an album that ain't even out? But just seeing Jay in the studio with Rick Rubin, I remember people say, "Oh, Jay's back with Rick Rubin." Rick Rubin ain't even do shit on the album. He was just laying on the couch, fucking sleep. You know what I mean? But people seeing that, it was like, oh, that's 5 mics. Based off the names. You saw Timbaland, you saw Pharrell, you saw Rick Rubin, you saw Jay-Z, and it was automatically 5 mics albums. And it's like Nas said, I don't mind the Magna Carta album, but most people hate this shit. So that's the wild part, that is like, this was the album that was going to be 5 mics, and most people hate it. But this goes back to the name. JR, what you got for your first one, good brother?
I was going to piggyback off of Vegas saying creativity and everybody not having the sound for real, because that's the problem with, you know, R&B for real. It was like everybody sounds the same. It's like you hear it and you be like, well, who produced that? It had to be the same one. Y'all remember at times it's be like, you know who did that? Okay, Timbaland did that. Okay, Rodney Jerkins did that. Oh, this person did that, because they had their own sound. We don't have that anymore. You hear whatever mainstream anyway, because like the episode with Portia was talking about underground R&B. We have that. You got people that have sounds. You got all that, but it's this mainstream stuff that being pushed by the powers that be is like everything sounds the same. So it's like it's no creativity now. You know what I mean? Everything just sounds the same, and that's what you see under these comments. You see everything. It sounds the same. Who produced it? It sounds like this person. So that's, you know, with creativity and stuff, that's what I wanted to talk about there too.
Right. And I forgot, Vay, when you was talking about Hit-Boy, I think the other piece that's missing is he's talented. A lot of these new school producers and rappers really ain't that talented to like come up with their own style. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the other piece too, that I ain't even put that, but that's gonna be one of the ones I write down. Talent is actually missing nowadays. What you gonna say, JR?
Oh no! I was gonna go with my, you know, one of mine, because I had the same. But I was gonna say real artistry for real. There's no real artistry at all to me, because again, it's like y'all said, every artist is coming out.
Now hold tight. Define that. Define artistry.
Okay, so when Vegas was saying that all the females are coming out looking the same and being the same, where's the artistry at? There's none of that. So for me, when Mary came out, right? What was the most popular thing? Everybody was wearing dresses, everybody was wearing gowns, all of this kind of stuff. Mary came out talking about real love and just what Whitney and Mariah and all them girls was doing, but it was different because she was looking different. She was appealing to her audience, but she was still talking the same thing that these girls in dresses were, but she was different. There's an artistry there. You know what I'm saying? So you can distinguish the difference between her. But then when she came out, it was like, okay, cool. But then Toni came out. She looked completely different than Mary. That artistry was different. There's no different artistry now. It's like girl coming out saying the same thing. Yeah.
And JR, then after that, think about Erykah Badu coming out with her own earthly vibe, totally different than anyone before. And then Jill Scott came with the poetry type, Philly poetry. You know what I'm saying? So that's that individualism that they all have, man.
And Erykah said, she was like, if y'all listen to the beginning of On and On, when she come doom, 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 she was like, Mary, I'm coming, but I want to be different. I don't want to be like you, but I want to let you know I hear what you're doing, and we kind of similar, but I'm going to come out different. And she did. And that's just the problem. None of these new girls are any different at all. It's like,
the exact same.
I can distinguish between this person and this person. It's like, who are you and who is this? And then everybody doing all these vocal runs that don't make a bit of sense to me. It's forced like what? That's not artistry. You can be inspired by, everybody seem like they inspired by Brandy for real. But it's like, y'all want to be her instead of being inspired by her and doing something different. That's my problem. It's like,
I think that's the thing. But I think that's the thing. People nowadays, number one, and there's no disrespect to the entire generation Y or whatever the fuck y'all are. I don't think they're really that. They're really not that smart. So they can code like a motherfucker, but put a clock in front of them with some hands on it, nigga, you gonna have a hard time to get them to tell you what time it is. But I say all that to say is that I really don't think people know the difference, like know why they should do it. Like there was a reason why there was an A&R back in the day. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if Jodeci looks like Jodeci if Puff's not there at Uptown to say, yo, let's put you in some Timberlands and some baggy jeans. Like I don't know what they look like coming from North Carolina. But
they look
from
like boys and men. That's what they look like.
Okay, see, I never saw a picture of Jodeci prior to outside that one little 12-inch cover of KC. So the importance of an A&R, you know what I mean? So the thing is, and then you had to have a talented A&R. You know what I mean? So it's so many levels, and I think again it's the gift and the curse of the independent music game now is that I can do all this myself, but is it really good that you do it all yourself? Because there are a lot of artists, independent and signed, who are fucking assholes. And you should not beg. I don't know about you. The people who were calling me was cool as shit from the radio, from the different labels. Because they understand in the PR department, in the pub, I got to get people to play your song. So I can't call Vegas being no asshole like, nigga, you playing my shit? Niggas was cool. Niggas was like, yo, what you need? Like, that's the thing. Like, so these artists is great. Yeah, you got your own label, but now you got to be your own A&R. You don't know how to do that. You got to try to get people to play your shit. You don't know how to do that. I don't know what the fuck was going on the other day. Telling like 5 or 6 different people jumped in the middle of a conversation like, hey, you need a logo? And I'm just like, nigga, time out. Time. Did you just jump in the middle of a music conversation?
Oh,
like,
yeah, I
hey,
that.
Does anybody need a logo? Like, bro, I'm like, yo, that's not the way to do it. Like, do it like this. Like, so again, these people don't know what the fuck to do. So you get a new art. Yo, what's up, Vic?
I was going to say it goes back to talent, but not only with the artists, like you said, you want a talented A&R, someone who has an ear for music, and they have to be hired by someone who knows what it's like to have an ear for music. Right. But everything is so microwave now, and how people consume music, talent takes time, but nobody want to take time on any level.
Right.
So they rather just say, does it meet the bullet points? Okay, cool. Let's go. You know, so
just like you said with the A&Rs though. Y'all remember A&Rs used to actually go out and go to the open mics and go to this and go to that. Now you got the A&Rs is just straight going to Instagram, be like, oh, you got 50,000 followers. Let's see what's up with you. And they completely trash. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing that they probably bought them followers, like all of that. It's like A&Rs are not going out and finding artists and grinding with the artists and doing that. It's a lost art with that alone, you know. Right. So,
but you know me, it always goes back to the goal. And I don't think, well, I'll save this for one of mine, but it's just, I don't feel like the goal is to make great music. I don't think a lot of people, I don't think 80% of the people who make music, indie or major, go into an album saying, I want to make an incredible album.
Oh, you feel like that with indie too?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with indie rappers, and I love them to death. And this is for all of them. But again, it's not, you got to get a team around you. You know what I mean? I don't care how talented Stevie was. Maybe Stevie, Prince, and them are just different. They're just a different whole nother team. Even the most talented person needs help. Everybody needs help crafting things together. You know what I mean? Like running ideas off of each other and things like that. You have this team of people who are around you who help present you in a certain light. A lot of indie artists don't have that. So they're doing it themselves. And again, everybody might not, I don't know the right thing to do all the time, but if I keep other creative people around me, then maybe we can figure it out together. So I just think a lot of indie artists don't know what to do, so they follow what everybody else is doing. You know what I mean? You got a whole bunch of indie artists that's all doing the drumless hip hop just because they think, oh, that's what Griselda's the wave. Okay, let me jump on that wave. That's easier than trying to sit back and create something that's my own sound. Because now I got to try to break that, you know, and I don't got time. Here's the thing. I don't know how to break that. I don't know how to break a sound. So it's easier to just follow along. Like, so, I mean, yeah. So I do think a lot of indie artists.
You know, back in our day, though, kid, we getting old. You know, if you sound like someone else, you really were getting destroyed, man. Like, you just really couldn't sound. I mean, they had songs about biting. You know what I'm saying? So you just really didn't get a lot of respect. You know what I'm saying? In the end of the day, when you sound like another artist, man. So now there's no shame in it. You know what I'm saying? Everyone sounds the same. Everybody looking for streams or clicks and payouts. So to your point, the days of someone. I mean, I'm sure there's some indie guys and ladies trying to make some good music, but the ones that you see really blow up are following a certain formula. They're not trying to make. They're just making a fast payday. But there are, I'm sure, some indie people who are, you know, really making some great music. And unfortunately, some of those are the ones being slept on that, you know, a lot of us will never hear. Like I just heard that guy, you know, Marvin Gaye, my favorite singer, and just probably a couple of months ago, I finally heard the guy that Snoop put on that sound like Marvin Gaye. He got an album. That album was
October London.
London. His
That's
album
my guy. Yes.
Outstanding. Outstanding album. He's an outstanding vocalist. He did a live performance on BET. Dude is incredible, but most people don't even know who he is.
Nope.
He's incredible. Yeah.
So what you got for your joint?
So we on artists, and you guys talking about teams just now. And this goes for hip hop and R&B as well. The days of artist development is over. Like back in the day, you had the chitlin circuit. Like, listen, we're gonna go into this back room. We're gonna do these steps together. We're gonna learn how to hit these notes together. Yo, Barry Gordy had them cats in boot camp. You know, listen. Before you get to go to the big stadium, we're going on this chitlin circuit so you can learn how to perform. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna take you to these little small spots. You're gonna turn these little small spots out, learn how to really be comfortable in front of people, because you look at some of these shows now, man, live performances don't look that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, they singing over their own vocals. They don't look comfortable on stage because some of them became fast sensations and they pushed them on stage to perform, and they ain't ready to perform yet. You should have been in a little 200-person venue down in damn New Orleans somewhere, learn how to damn perform. But now we put you on BET in front of the world and wonder why this shit sucks, because you're not ready yet. We got to groom you and develop you as an artist. So there's no artist development anymore like it used to be in these big labels back. Even with Puff, like you said about Jodeci, Puff was artist development. You know what I'm saying? Like him or not, when he worked with those R&B groups, they were ready. When it was time for them to they singles go out and they go on tour, Puff had them ready, boot camp style, reminiscent of the way they had it Uptown, and even before that with, you know, of course, Motown back in the 70s. Artist development is just a thing of the past, unfortunately, and again, it's because I want to make this person a star real quick. We looking for the one-hit wonders now. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, they go hot, get some streams, gonna get paid from them, you know, whatever, and then they disappear. The next person come with the same formula, sound just like the last, because I don't even know who these people are now. They all sound the same. I can't keep up.
Yeah, I mean, Tone, one of the things that learning how to perform, I mean, we just saw that with the Locks and Dipset. Like, that was the whole thing. Like, being on tour with Puff, we a well-oiled machine. Like, you know, you could tell Dipset just showed up off the block. The Locks, like, yo, we were hurt. Like, we do this. Like, but again, that's coming from that boot camp of that way of life. Bro, what you got for yours, bro?
So that was one of mine. I'm gonna go expound on that too. Like, a good executive producer for your project, like somebody that guides you. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all need help, man. There's nothing wrong with getting that help. You know, not to pick this beat or to sequence your album in a certain way, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of that stuff, like now people like doing everything on their own, like, you know what I mean? And you need help. Like, we used to have like an exec, like you had artist development, but you also had an executive producer that would kind of like, you know, help you put together your project. And now it's just like people just throwing songs on an album, and that's it. Like no flow to the album, no, you know, sequence and all that. So I think a good executive producer will help a lot, especially in hip hop for the most part. Yeah.
Help a lot of people too, man. A lot of people. Pete, what you got for your next one?
So I had A&Rs, but we talked about that extensively. So I'm going to go with hip hop publications. And why that's a missing ingredient to me is because we don't have any kind of publication or platform where it's introducing and gathering and reporting on things of the culture for the culture and all of that. Like when we had, I don't know, I mean, every time we do a show about things we miss and, you know, I see it on Twitter all the time. Unsigned Hype was one of everyone's favorite columns from the source, like ever. And it was like, I'm in Canada in the middle of the prairies. And I was looking forward to Unsigned Hype. So I can just imagine what was going on actually in the States. And we don't have that anymore where like you're getting like a glimpse into up and coming artists. Everyone's just doing their own thing. And it's sort of just a mishmash of all of it. And we don't have anything that sort of streamlines this or vets the stuff and introduces like Unsigned Hype used to do. And I think that that's so important. It was so important, and you don't really realize it until you're without it for so long. And now you're like, oh, this is what Unsigned Hype did. It actually made people hype about these up and coming artists that were featured in there. And then you always look forward to the next one because most of them really knocked it out of the park when they dropped their debuts. You were looking forward to their debut. You were like, all right, let me see what the source was talking about in that issue. You would listen to it and you were like, damn, they were right. That is dope. And then you would, you know, like it became sort of a habit. So for me, hip hop publications.
Yo, Unsigned Hype, crazy track record of.
Absolutely. I mean,
who was on there and what they ended up being like.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they were they were
Common, Eminem.
Yeah,
but I think that's the thing too. It kind of goes back to, I feel like in the 80s and the 90s, the only people for mid 90s, the people who were working at labels really loved the music.
Right.
So they understood the music. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I think once we got into like the mid 90s on, it just became a fly job to have. Like, let me work at a record label. I mean, I really know R&B. I mean, I really know hip hop. Same thing with record stores. Veg, I'm sure it was like this in New York. But in Philly, if you worked at a record store like in the 80s, you was a DJ. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you knew the records. You could come in and ask the DJ, like, yo, I only got money for one CD. Which one should I get? Like, they could give you advice and everything like that. And I've told this story a lot of times when I knew that shit changed. I went to Sam Goody in the gallery. And I asked Shorty, did they have the new MOP? And she was like, do we have a mop? And I was just like, oh, fuck.
It's over.
Game, it's over. Like, yo, like, do we have a mop? Like, you don't know who MOP Shorty is, but you work in here? Like, and that's when, like, again, like, this is like mid-90s. This is like 96. It's like, this is where shit started to change. For a while, if you worked at a record store, you knew records. If you worked at a label, you knew label shit. If you worked at a magazine, you knew magazine shit. You know what I mean? And so I think like that's the thing. I mean, like you said, the track record of just Biggie and Mobb Deep, that alone, we can just stop right there. You know what I mean? And then you throw in Eminem, like these were people who were unsigned, like, you know what I mean? So I'm with you 100% on that, Pete. Next for me is just, I don't feel like there's any passion. Like, I don't think there's this passion to be the GOAT anymore. You know what I mean? I feel like I feel that way with the NBA. I don't feel like there's anybody who's like really like, yo, I got that Mamba mentality. Like, I feel like Kobe came in like, yo, I want to be the best. He worked his best to be mentioned and named amongst some of the best. I know younger kids have him above Jordan, But I don't feel like we have that in the league, and I don't feel like we have that in hip hop. I don't feel like a lot of these artists are really like, yo, like I got a passion for this. Like, yo, if you just took all the money away, like, nigga, my pen ain't gonna stop moving. It's just what I do. You know what I mean? And I feel like that passion is missing because I don't hear it in the music. Like, I hear laziness in some of these bars. I don't hear anybody trying to get a rewind a moment. Like, when you came up in the 80s and you were doing something creative, most times people said, I just want the respect of my peers. I want other MCs to say I'm nice. I want other producers to say I'm nice. I want other graph writers to say I'm nice. I want other breakers to say I'm nice. And I feel like that's gone now. Like, I don't feel like people have a place to really be like, yo, I want my peers to say I'm nice. I think the peers don't matter anymore. I think it's all about the bag. You know what I mean? So I feel like that piece is a huge piece that's missing, because I know we would get so much better hip hop if it was like, yo, that nigga Conway last album was crazy. Yo, I gotta match that shit. Like, now I gotta step my pen game up. Or if somebody say, man, that Killer Mike album was crazy, Mike did, man. Fuck that. I gotta step my game up. I don't think those conversations happen anymore. You know, I don't think anybody is sitting around like, man, that Killer Mike album was crazy. Period. like it's not no, now I gotta go. It's just like, oh yeah, oh damn, Joel Embiid dropped 70? Okay, y'all hitting the club later tonight? It's not like, oh shit, that nigga dropped 70? Fuck that, I'm going out tomorrow. I'm gonna show nigga, I'm gonna bust somebody's ass tomorrow. I just don't feel like that passion is there anymore. I felt like in the Jordan days, let somebody score 60 points. I think Mike is gonna be like, okay, well, who on the docket for tomorrow? I got their ass. Like, that competition also. So that's what I got for me.
With social media and the internet now, also people's attention spans just kind of it's like information overload. You know what I'm saying? Right. So there's so much going on. And as far as the artists, back then also, it wasn't easy to get in the game. You had to get a record deal to get in the game, and then you had to go through a whole lot of, paths to get the record out. Nowadays, it's like, okay, I can get on the internet, I can go on SoundCloud, or I can make some music, and I can just kind of put it out there, and I can rush my music out there. You know what I'm saying? And I need to put it out there because so much out there already. I need somebody to hear this. So to me, it's not about the passion for a lot of people now, because they're just rushing to get their music out. You couldn't rush back in the day. You had to take your time and go through all these channels. Also, you might only get one shot. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, if you don't pop off, your career might actually be over, like forever. You working at a regular 9 to 5. Nowadays, you might flop, something might pop off again, something go viral, and then you pop them because it went viral, and then your whole life can change overnight because of the way the money comes in now. You didn't have that opportunity back in the day. If you bombed,
yeah,
over right. You had to love that shit and put some love in that music, or it might not resonate. I mean, I don't know.
Right. Babe, what you got up next?
All right, I think one thing that's missing is the interest and respect for conscious hip hop. I feel like there was a point in time in hip hop where it could be a block party, it could be a party wherever. You're gonna hear Public Enemy right alongside NWA because it was all hip hop. I feel like now it's hip to like it because it's niche, like it, and then they're not liking these artists because of the message, and they think there needs to be more of it. They want to be seen as the person who gets it. You know what I'm saying? And that's a problem, because then the message gets lost in that. And I think in a lot of ways, there aren't the conscious rappers like in the past that was so dedicated to it, but there are probably some that, would do it, if it was more popular, if it was going to guarantee them spins on the radio because it was a great song with a great message. And I feel like now, if you argue that, then people have a problem with you, right? You're woke, all these stupid ass names or whatever, to get around the fact that ignorance is bliss. And Benny, but I feel like in a lot of ways it should be on the same level. If this dude is nice, but he typically not preacher style, but he has a message in his music, well, why isn't he as popular when he should be. You know, when his music's great, when it's well produced and the lyrics are dope and the concepts are dope and everything. Like this dude, what's his name? Lecrae. That's his name?
Yeah.
Lecrae.
Right. Like in the past, the only Christian rapper, you know what I'm gonna say, Kill, the only Christian rapper I knew was BBJ.
Right.
And I just looked at him because I was like, is this like Christian Biggie? Like,
Right.
but Lecrae is dope.
Yeah, he is dope.
Hell, boy, like that's how you deliver your message, right? He's not disguising it. It's just pure. And that's how it should be. That's how you want your artists to be with whatever they're talking about. It could be the other side of the spectrum. But it goes back to the talent. It goes back to attention spans. And unfortunately, with conscious hip hop, like young cats just don't understand. Like there was a time where everybody was conscious. Like,
Right.
It was the thing to do.
Right.
Now it's more like, you know, something that they could say indie artists do or older artists who's always been conscious.
That's why I appreciate it. You know, I'm a big Kendrick Lamar fan, but that's the reason why I appreciate it to Pimp a Butterfly, because, you know, when you got some of your singles is All Right, We're Gonna Be All Right, you listen to the words, so that's a conscious song. Listen to King Kunta, it's a conscious song, you know what I'm saying? So then you put the album on and you listen to how much a dollar costs and Complexion with Rhapsody and all these songs, it's like, yo, and I tweeted about this recently again about how brilliant, if you go back now and actually just, especially, you know, Boom Bap Kids not gonna like it, I get it. But if you go back and like listen to the entire album, it's conscious all the way institutionalized. You know what I'm saying? Like these are some amazing songs. Like To Pimp a Butterfly is 100% conscious. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then Good Kid, Mad City is like gangster conscious. You know what I'm saying? Like he's telling these stories and stuff like that, but it has a conscious message a lot of times throughout the album. You know what I'm saying? So then you got this thing about me that's on there. It doesn't get more conscious than that to me, but you know, that's why I'm glad that Kendrick popped off, because even in the middle of his big singles and stuff like that, he has a conscious joint throughout all his albums.
Right. One thing I just wanted to add, like one example, like you obviously Kendrick is the anomaly, right? Because it's just one. You need more than that. But I remember when To Pimp a Butterfly dropped and everybody loved it. Now they talk about whatever. But a prime example of somebody who had a commercial side to him, and he made a conscious album that was really dope, but it got ignored, was Joey Badass joint, All American. Badass. That album was dope. It was incredible.
That album was so dope. Yes. Yes.
But he's talking about police brutality, and you know, some of these generations, they like, well, Kendrick already did it. Why are you doing this? So it's one of those things where it's like, well, why not?
That's
you know what I'm saying? Why not? So
now, Joey, I've never been I've heard of stuff here and there. Is that a good album to start with, or would you say there's another album that's better to start with?
It's my favorite album from him. I think it's probably his best album, but his albums are different because if you start with like this, like the 1999 joint.
I like that joint.
Boot Camp Clip.
It is, but it is Boot Camp. It is Boot Camp.
Yeah, like that's how he started.
Yeah.
Sound of he kind of slowly evolved into a different artist, but yeah.
He is pretty versatile, though, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
He's pretty versatile.
All right, Jared, what you got up next?
I say this, and it's never new, and I'm gonna stick to this. When it comes to R&B, for real, we need groups.
Yes.
That is the bottom line. R&B, when we was at the top of our game, groups were in the mix.
Yes.
We don't have that anymore. It's no groups. You know what I mean? So it doesn't even boost our solo artists either.
Why
you
you
know
think,
what I mean? Because,
why you think we don't have any groups anymore, in your opinion?
I really feel like we don't have groups because the powers that be don't want them. They don't want them. And money. You know what I mean? Because when you need a group, you need money. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of them is like, you know what? They're trying to take the cheap way out. We just talked about a lot of things that's needed. Artist development takes money. You know what I mean? Different things takes money. And them powers that be is just not doing that. They just like, okay, like you said, but it's making the industry look bad because you're bringing people out on stage and they can't handle it. So it's just like, let them go through the chitlin circuit. That's why our artists were able to go on there, and when it was time for them to perform, they owned it. You know what I mean? Because they went through so much artist development. But as far as groups, we don't have any, and so it's like the groups is always the background to R&B when we started to cross over, and it started in the 50s, to be honest.
Yeah.
Once we started getting these doo-wop groups that just really, it helped our solo artists go through the roof. It helped Little Richard go through the roof. It helped Ray Charles go through, helped Sam Cooke go through, all of that, because it was that foundation. Then when Barry came in and did Motown, how many groups we had? But then he had solo artists, the Marvin, the Stevie, the this, the this, the this. And it helped. And then by the 70s, it helped bands come in. We had our bands started to come in. So that helped. But then we had our groups still rocking. But then our solo artists was still big. And go down the line in the 80s, even though that was an instrumental year, decade, because it was like everybody was trying to try something. And when Michael came with Thriller, it just changed everything because everybody wanted that. So but we still had groups and all that. By the 2000s, it took a dip because there were no more groups anymore. Groups started becoming extinct. And once that happened, nobody cares. It was just like our solo artists didn't have anything to stand on. So
question for you, JL. Question for you. You the R&B guy. Do it seem like the groups ended like overnight? Because to me, it feel like one day I woke up, what the group said, they all gone. After 4 decades of groups pushing black culture.
I felt that way too. That's why it was like, even though I thought it was kind of corny, but I wasn't even mad at the mindless behaviors and all that kind of stuff. Because I was like, okay, cool. They trying here. But Kill said this in an episode, maybe a couple of episodes ago. They always want to push the lead to go solo. But then it's messed up because a lot of these leads are not meant to be solo. They're meant to be lead singers of groups. But again, we don't have A&Rs and we don't have record executives that can realize that. You know what I mean? But then they like, okay, we can get money off them for being a solo artist. So let's give them, big up the group, whatever, and then let them go solo. And then they flop. Because they weren't made to be a solo artist to begin with. So it's like, keep them in a group. But again, it just like once 2005 went down, it was like, that's it. It's done. So now when you got groups like, I try to talk about the Shandellas often. I try to talk about all of these groups because I'm like, y'all, we need it. If we have them, then it can kind of build R&B so much, because in the 90s, that's what everybody go back to, because there was so many groups, and there were some groups that couldn't get through because it was still a lot of groups. A lot of groups didn't end up winning because it was too many of them.
Real groups didn't make it.
Real groups didn't make it. Groups that can really sing. But they couldn't get through because there was so many of them. Why? But R&B was at the top of its game then too, because we had our solo artists winning as well. So until we get that, I don't think R&B commercially will be back to there because there's no groups at all. That's how I feel.
Now, tell me this, y'all. Oh, I'm sorry, man. You go ahead. You got it.
I just wanted to real quick because I think that's a great point. I love R&B just as much as I love hip hop. But I feel like, I have to go through like me finding JR's YouTube channel and him putting me on to songs. Like, I feel like I need stuff like that because when I think about artists that I kind of like, right? Like, I like Miguel, but I feel like I only like certain singles. Every time I go listen to a whole album, I'm like, yeah, shut up, nigga. Like, let me just make a playlist like the kids do. Take the songs I like.
That's true.
And it's not that he's not talented in some way or that he doesn't have music I don't like, but there's something missing. Maybe he belongs in a group. Maybe he needs a different voice with him, to kind of balance things out on a full album as opposed to him having his career with all these albums. And when I'm going through the albums, I'm like, damn, I don't like most of this shit, but the stuff I like, I really like. So it's hard to capture that when a artist maybe only has one mode and one thing they're good at and it works on 1 or 2 beats, but then the others, shit just don't work. So
Now tell me this, JR. Well, one, just around the room, do you think, you believe that groups will make R&B better, right?
More mainstream and get more attention, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
How do y'all feel about hip hop? Do you feel like groups would help hip hop?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Griselda Exhibit A. Because when them dudes rap together, I love it. I love them solo. But like you said, Kill, like with Conway, you like.
It's funny, people don't talk about this album. I actually enjoyed this joint right here.
Yeah. I was excited when they did that. But it just doesn't happen because everybody goes off, they do their own thing, and it's kind of like, you know how many dope albums we could have got if it wasn't all these solo projects? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So I agree. I think hip hop could use some groups.
Think about all the dopest eras of hip hop. You know, at one point, you know, having like Tribe, De La, Jungle Brothers, PE, everyone at the same time. Then in the 90s, you still had a lot of, you know, you had Souls of Mischief, Farside, yeah, all these groups at the same time. Man, it just expanded.
So don't forget Living Legends. We want to shout them out too. Living Legends. Shout them out.
Yeah.
You are shady.
Hey, yo, man. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Shit, I want to give everybody props, man. I want to know who the fuck everybody is. So, yeah.
Even Crews are gone. Even Crews are gone because think about, we had Def Squad and all that back in the day, but even in the late 90s, early 2000s, the No Limits, Cash Money, all these.
You had the Justice League out there with Ninth of them, right?
Absolutely. They was doing it down here too, man. So, yeah, we missed the Daz Effect, all these guys. You missed these groups, man.
I got a question too. Are y'all doing? Is there like posse cuts still in hip hop still?
Here and there,
Not really though.
Not really.
The last one I heard was on Sky Zoo album, that Eastern Conference All Stars with Griselda and Elza and all them. Yeah, that was the last one I really loved, and that's still not a main. That's an album cut.
Right.
It wasn't like John Blaze. You know what I'm saying, or something like that. That, you know, a lot of people outside of Sky Zoo fans or hip hop fans will know.
Okay,
I think like that. Go ahead, babe.
Well, I was going to say, now there are some younger groups. I just don't think they get as much attention and shit. Maybe because they're groups like Flatbush Zombies and Earth Gang. You know what I'm saying? These are younger cats who straight up do hip hop. And people like them, but they just don't ever seem to, you know, get to a Migos standpoint, right? Where it's like, okay, well, that's a group.
Yeah,
but they've been around so long, you know. Okay, it's just them, like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Migos probably the last big group, ain't it?
Probably.
Probably the last, like Mega Stars. They the last, probably the big group.
You know what I can say, JR? I think some of these dudes, I'm looking through my phone now, like 38 Special is always going to have a posse cut with Ransom and Shay Noir. Like, if you're defining posse cuts like 4 MCs or more, not really. You know, it seems like more so now people, probably once in getting to the 2000s, and vague, everybody correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt like more of like just features. You know, so you may have not had a posse cut, but like, I know Game's albums, like every song was a feature. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of maybe what the posse cut kind of became. Like, instead of getting 5 people on one song, I'm just going to do 5 different songs with 5 different artists. You know what I mean? And that's when they were trying to get the down south. I need a down south nigga. I need a West Coast nigga. I need a Texas nigga. So like now you're trying to build these songs to kind of get to those markets and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, I think I guess, Tony, you're right. Like that Eastern Conference, like Griselda, I feel like there's always going to be a Benny Conway, you know, West Side song. But if we're saying a posse cut starts at 4, then not a lot.
Like I said, unless you K Slade.
You got 78 people on one song. He'll make a posse's cut. He'll make a whole city cut. Shit. Who did I leave off for? I don't even remember who just went there. So what you got next, bro?
I miss the days of more meet and greets. You know what I'm saying? So you feel more connected to them. And when you know, I remember going to, you know, being in Greensboro, throwing all these parties with my people. We go to Willie's or whatever, and you know, Jay-Z and them in there promoting reasonable doubt. You know what I'm saying? So you get to connect with these guys, or the Locks doing a run for their album, and even on the R&B side, somebody come to town, New Edition might come to a certain record store, and you get to go in there, man, and they signing albums, and some of them are trying to talk to you real quick, and you kind of feel more connected to the music, man. And a lot of artists back then, hip hop and R&B, used to do a lot of meet and greets. You know what I'm saying? Either, after shows and stuff like that. And I know that some of them still do that, especially the underground scene. Some of them still do that, take pictures and sign in that paraphernalia and all that. But it feel like on the grand scale, that's something that's not around anymore. You know what I'm saying? You just see them on the internet instead of in person, unless you go to the show. But you don't get to go to the record store or some other spot to meet and greet. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of miss that, man, with the record industry.
Yeah, it's funny because I almost want to say the label was the ones putting those meet and greets together. Yeah. So now that the label's gone, again, does the artist have the wherewithal to say? And you think about it like this, and that's why I don't think people get the really whole picture of the game, because it's easier now to say like, yo, such, it's Benny and Conway, yo, we gonna be in North Carolina. Yo, Tone, where's some record stores we can do? Like, it's so much easier now because you can literally, reach out to those people in those cities and things like that. And the thing is with the internet, if these boys use it right, you can have a whole promo crew working for you for free.
You really good.
Like, dead ass. Like, yo, we'll get you in the show for free, get you and your man in, whatever. I know I could reach out to Kill in DC. Yo, Kill, where's 2 record stores we can hit up? You mind linking up with us? What fan ain't gonna want to link up with their favorite rapper and take them around? Like, yo, So the crazy thing is if you work the game good enough, you could probably do a lot of shit and get it done for free. You know what I mean? Like, but I tell people it's like running a Boston in spades. You gotta play your hand perfectly. You know what I mean? And some of these niggas just can't fucking play spades. So ask them to run a Boston. Nigga, that's like running a triangle offense nowadays. Like, niggas would quit a team if a coach said run a triangle offense. You know how much studying we have to do to learn how to run a triangle offense? Our brains ain't good for that shit no more. You know what I mean? So I think that's the crazy thing. Bro, what you got up next, bro?
Real quick.
Oh, my fault, man.
Just wanted to say, well, first of all, shout out to Legacy Record Store in Dumbo in Brooklyn, because they kind of do that. Like, they've had Ed Sheridan and Glorilla and different people come through. Maybe 3 Stacks also, I think so.
Okay, that's dope.
And those lines are crazy, but those are the vinyl collectors. You know what I'm saying? Those aren't like the fans. Those are the vinyl collectors coming through to get their vinyl signed. So there's an element of it that still exists, but it's still going through the label, and it's set up. And I was surprised at who they were able to get, but then I'm thinking like back in the days where you had Tower Records and all of that, where mom and pop ain't really getting that artist, they getting local artists or whatever. So it like exists in some ways, but just not on the scale, and it probably has a lot to do with physical media going away, because for some reason they can't think of a creative way to have you come to a community and sign shit or do something. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, yeah. Nah, that makes perfect sense. Bro, what you got for your next joint?
I would say more quality and less quantity.
Definitely one of mine. Definitely.
Take your time and put out a good project instead of putting out a bunch of mid projects. Just put, you know what I'm saying, like not letting stuff breathe, not taking the time that you probably should take for your project, because you're putting out just flooding us with all this stuff, you know what I'm saying, and it's not, the quality isn't there, you know what I'm saying, and maybe you should slow that down, take your time, and put out quality products at a lower pace than just putting out shit that's mid, you know what I'm saying, and I know like the attention span for people is short, so I understand, but like some of these dudes, man, it's just like, yo, you can't even appreciate what they just put out because it's something else something else coming. You know what I'm saying? And so I would say quality over quantity would be one that's missing for me.
Nah, and that's definitely one that I had too. Just the amount of albums that's put out. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't give me an opportunity to miss the artist. You know what I mean? In fact, it almost makes me get tired of your music because I'm constantly hearing it. You know what I mean? Like, I was sitting there the other day, I was listening to one of my Griselda mixes, and like, yo, I was one of the biggest Griselda fans in the world. You go back to 2018, 2019, I had people telling me on Twitter, nigga, you talk about them so much, I don't even like them though. You talk so much about them, you done made me not like them. That's how much. And I was kind of thinking the other day, like, what is it? And it's kind of like, yo, I'm just kind of tired. Like, I've heard Conway may have out more albums than somebody who's been rapping since 1988 or 1998. Like, he put out so much music that's kind of just like, I'm kind of tired. You ever just eat a meal so much that you get tired of it? But it can be a great meal. The meal is incredible. You love it, but like, bro, I don't care. I don't want to eat Cafe Carmelas every fucking day for 2 weeks, man. I need a break. Like, and I love these things. And you know what the thing is too. And I just use Conway for example. Yes, he's dope and all that. I'm a fan, but for me, you heard one Conway song, you've heard them all. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, the flow gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same gritty, grimy, whatever. And it is what it is. That's like most artists. That's the reason why, for me, someone like an early Kanye, Outkast, some of these Kendrick, them, every album sounds totally different than the one before. You know what I'm saying? So that keeps me interested in that artist. But if I've heard one Conway album, I've heard all of them. And that's not a diss to him. He's dope, but he stays in his pocket. That's his lane. I ain't mad at that. But for me, I like so much variety of music, whether it's hip hop or whatever, I'm going to get tired of the shit. Yeah, and the thing is, too, Tone, I think cats like Kendrick and Outkast, like, they're the outliers. Like, they're not the norm. I think what helped was you had a break. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between King of Rock and Raising Hell. It's not that Run and D got new rap styles or they ain't come back. It just gave you a break, And then you heard Peter Piper. Peter Piper didn't sound like King of Rock. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of the times a Run DMC single didn't have guitars in it. You know what I mean? My Adidas didn't have no guitars in it. So it's not, I think that's the piece too, that if we heard Guru, if we heard 3 Gangstar albums in a year, nigga, we could possibly be tired of Guru. Like, nigga, like, your attitude right here, like, you're not moving it, like, you have one style. So I don't want people to ever think that that's like a diss, because most rappers only do have one style. But the fact was, we only had to hear that one style once a year. We only got 12 songs of that style every 12 months. Now, when you try to do that, when you try to make 6 albums in 1 year, nigga, now that one style is boring. Like, you know what I mean? Now it's kind of boring. You know what I mean? And it's almost like you watching ball, and if you watch tape enough, you be like, oh, that nigga can't go to his left. Push him to his left. You know what I mean? And now his game is all off because we don't watch enough tape on you to know your weakness or whatever. So it's almost like that. So it's like, and even to indie artists, I say this all the time. There is a such thing as too much music. Yeah. There is a such thing of, even if I love you, like, again, give me a break. Bro, when I grew up in Philly, I didn't eat cheesesteaks every day. Did you?
No, sir.
I don't know if I ate cheesesteak every 2 weeks. I may have gotten one steak every 2 weeks or something like that. It wasn't this, we eat cheesesteaks every day in Philly, or you know what I mean? Like, you don't do, it's like, we like chill. You in the mood to go down to Max's? All right, you want to go to Pagano? Like, this wasn't no after school, we just go to Pagano's every day and eat a cheesesteak. Like, you know what I mean? That's how I feel like with some of y'all music, that even if I like y'all, it's just too fucking much. And for the real indie artists, I want to ask, is this giving you a bag? You know what I mean? Like, are you really making money from dropping so many albums in a year? And if not, then why are you doing it? Like, that's like my question. Now, of course, for Conway, of course, he's going to be able to sell merch and he can do a tour with every new album. So I get it. But for the indie artists, it's like, what is dropping this much music really doing for you? And if it is giving you a bag, hey, keep getting your bag. You know what I mean? But I think that, so bro, I totally agree with you, because I think if we only got one Conway album a year, the verses would be tighter.
Mm-hmm.
The pen would be a little bit better because you're actually living.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. If Tribe made People's Instinctives, Low and then Midnight in the same year, they're all gonna sound the same. You're not gonna get those 3 albums the way we hear it now. Why? Because Q-Tip grew. Making People's Instinctives, I'm sure Tip may have never even left New York City like that.
Yeah.
But between People's Instinctives and Low End, this nigga went on tour. He saw some shit. He met some other producers. Oh shit, that's Dr. Dre. What's good, baby? Yo, I love what you did with the crowd. Like you grow, but you're not giving yourself a chance to grow. So if we got 3 Tribe albums in 1991, trust me, we are not talking about Tribe the way we talk about Tribe.
No.
We're just not. And that's not about talent. Because also, guess what? Fife's pen got sharper on the second album.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So again, you're not giving yourself a chance to grow if you're just making 5 albums a year. Like, that shit is not impressive to me. I remember one year my man was like, yo, Flea Lord making an album every month. And I was like, I mean, are they good? Like, I mean, that sounds like an impressive feat. Like on some Guinness Book of World Records type shit, but all 12 of those albums good. And even if they are, I guarantee you if he just wrote one album for that year, it would be great. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be 12. It would be amazing because you're giving your pen a chance to rest. You know what I mean? Like, Veg, you at the gym, I'm sure you can't work out all strenuous every day. You gotta give your body a minute to breathe from shits. Like, y'all gotta give y'all. Yo, people be sending me their album. I'm like, God damn, you got another album? How? Why? Like, treat me to dinner. Tell me, oh, Kill, we balling out here. That's why I drop an album every other week. Like, it's just like, yo, please, like, I beg, I beseech you. Y'all know if I say beseech, I beseech y'all. Just maybe give me an album a year and 1 EP. Like, let's make a compromise. Hip hop, let's make a compromise. 1 album, 1 EP a year. Like, that should be the limit. Like, Bandcamp should not allow you to upload more than 1 album and 1 EP a year. Like, it just won't. It'll freeze your account if you try to do it.
A year.
Yeah, like, that's all you get. Like, nigga, if you try to upload more, your account is suspended. Like, we need something. So I'm with you, Rel, on that. Porsche, what you got up next, sis?
So I think Rel said one of mine. So anyways, I'm going to go with focus. And what I mean by that is I feel like maybe you guys can help me understand, because I feel like MCs come into the culture with, creative albums, they're making their music, but then I don't know if that is to kind of perpetuate another lifestyle. Like, I don't know if they're using hip hop as a stepping stone for other things that kind of land them in hot water with like crime or legal issues or whatever it is, but it's taking them away from the music. Or is it like the vice versa? Are they trying to use the music to kind of get themselves out of that life, at which point, like, I feel like it's just, there's a lot of criminal issues going on that's taking a lot of artists away from the art, and we're not really seeing potential really that could be met if, like, in general, from indie artists, from the younger, people, from even the older people. I don't know, you guys tell me. I feel like focus on the art is missing in that regard. Like, there's other activities and other motives before they get into the music or after.
I agree 100%. I always joke that Stevie Wonder don't make songs in Key of Life if that nigga is selling sunglasses and fucking sneakers and fucking starring in movies and shit. Like, you gotta focus. We got this amazing music because that's what artists, focused on. And I feel like hip hop has become like almost like a stepping stone to get you somewhere else. Like, I'm a use.
And I said crime and illegal activities because I feel like that's extremely prevalent right now, and in the last few years more so than ever. But it extends beyond that. It's movies, as you said. It's pushing brands. It's creating brands that are then gonna perpetuate another business venture. And I'm not against anyone getting their bag and securing money and income. I think everyone should. but I do think that you lose the focus. And I don't know. I don't want to name any names, but I just don't get excited about some rappers that are putting out albums when I know that their attention really is elsewhere and they're only dabbling back in the music for I don't know what. I truly don't know what they're doing it for. Is it to appease fans? Is it to potentially, is that going to be another income stream potentially? Like, I don't know. I just feel like that the focus is gone.
Well, I'll name names. Common. Y'all know I think he's a trash ass actor, and I ain't enjoyed a Common album in at least the last 4 albums. But like I said earlier, it's dope to see him in the studio with Pete. You know what I mean? So I think that's the thing. Like, I just look at it like, yo, I'm sure shooting a movie in Hollywood for 3 weeks pays Common 3 times as much as he would get putting out an album. You know what I mean? And it's probably less work. I got to write these rhymes. I got to pick these beats. I got to record the album. I got to do radio promo. I may have to do some show. Yo, I could sit over here in Hollywood and make $500,000 in 2 months. You know what I mean? So, again, I just wish. So it's good to see because I've always been like, damn, like hip hop is what got you in movies, my nigga. Like nobody was casting your ass just an actor from the west side of Chicago or the south side of Chicago. It wasn't happening. Hip hop got you here. The least you could do if you're going to do hip hop is take some time off. You know what I mean? Say, hey, to my agent, yo, I'm not taking no movies for the next 6 months. I'm going to work on this album. So I do think that artists at least owe that back to the culture that got them there. Because again, you're only there because you're common. Nobody's fucking. That nigga was not getting cast in movies because he's Lonnie Rashid Smith or whatever the fuck that nigga's name is. Like we're getting you because you're common. So I agree with that. Y'all know me, simple. Drums are missing ingredient. We need drums back. No MC should ever accept a track that doesn't have drums. Here's the thing: you get two per album. So, Rel, even working on the album that you and Vay gonna be on, that's no drums. You only got one more, nigga. Like after that, we need some drums. Like I give everybody 2 limit, but these albums when it's just 12 songs with no drums, like nigga, I'm from an era where your Isuzu Amigo and your fucking Mazda MPV has some woofers in the back, and you want to hear some drums. So I mean, it's simple. I need drums. Like MCs should literally be like, you send me, there ain't no drums on this beat, it ain't finished. Like send it to me when it's finished. Then we need to stand on that for me. So Vay, what you got up next?
Tone kind of touched on this earlier, but I had the missing ingredient being, if you're not nice at rapping, we don't recognize you at all. You don't get a record deal, you don't get admiration, you don't get likes, you don't get nothing. You are whack until you get better, or you just go work somewhere and do something else. But this, to me, like this blurring the lines of who's a GOAT, who's dope, what's fire, what's a classic, who's better than who. This run is going to be like DMX's. It's like, calm down with all the goddamn, like all of this, like your marketing is getting inserted in everything but the actual fucking work. You know what I'm saying? Right. To me, a lot of cats, kind of speaking to what you were saying with the independent artists, you're doing all these projects, but guess what? That shit ain't new. The difference is older artists, let's just use Tupac as an example, they recorded just as much music as you in a year. They just didn't put it all out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They will record hundreds of records and then take the best and put a marketing plan around it and then go. So now to me, it's like, again, we go back to it being more about the business side of things and less about being nice with your pen. I think some people are cool if once they get that initial cosign of being nice like that, they think everything they do is crazy. But the only man that can basically rap about the same exact things, almost in the same exact way all the time, and it never sound the same, is Pusha T. Why? Because he'll do it multiple times a year. Yep. It's like it's Pusha T season. We're all ready. We listen to it. Right. It's always dope. It's everything we wanted. And then he go do the awkward fashion week walk shit that he's doing now.
And then he'll come back 2 years later, 3 years later.
Right, 2 3 years later, he'll come right back. So,
right,
yeah, I think just there just was a time where you had to be nice. Like, for example, for you young kids who don't know, right? There's these things called ciphers, right? This shit can happen anywhere. You could be challenged. Somebody could just say something and it just happened. Like, my man, nice, and he start rhyming, and you just had to prove yourself. And usually, if you were whack, you knew you were whack because there was no reaction to anything you were saying. There was no head nodding. There was no none of that shit. It was just straight like, all right. Like,
right. You know the line that retired me, man, in that cipher. When I thought I was gonna kill a cipher, I wrote this bar, and I was like, this is back when people don't even remember this. Pepsi used to be clear. It was like for a year, Pepsi was clear like Sprite. So I said something. I wrote this rhyme, and I was like, I'm gonna spit this, and I was like, yo, so I'm gonna switch my style like Pepsi and make myself clear. And I knew niggas was gonna lose their shit, and it was crickets. That's the last time I ever wrote a fucking rhyme, nigga. That's what I was like. Let me go make a beat, and that retired me. Like, that's a testament to what you mean, like the cipher. You had a delayed laugh on that round. That laugh came like 10 seconds after the joke, but yeah.
I just had a mental picture of that. That's crazy.
It was bad. It was bad. It was real bad. I just said, yeah, that's not for me. Like, let me take my ass home. Like, you know. But you know the great thing is
now
was that
you spit that shit now, you would say they don't get it. Like,
right. I'd be like, yo, that's above your head. Like, y'all got started.
That's right, Dave.
There you go. That's the difference. Soon as somebody don't like J. Cole, oh, he too deep for you. Nigga, I grew up on Nas. I ain't gonna goddamn J. Cole too deep for me. Fuck you. Right. So you're 100% right. But the cool thing about that was it kept you in it made me say, you know what? I don't think I want to do this no more. You know what I mean? I used to think I could hoop. I used to go hoop down Simons. I used to hoop down Finley. Realized I can't hoop. Send my ass home. Like, what's up?
Let's say this word again tonight.
Awareness.
All right.
The word of 2024 is awareness, good people. Like, it was like, I look like an asshole out here on this court. This is not for me, nigga. Yep. Time to go back in the crib and make some beats or do something else because this isn't for me. You know what I mean? And that was cool. Like, that was cool. And I'm not saying you give up, but you have a decision to make. You know, I could have said, you know what? I need to go back and write better rhymes. But to be honest with you, I just didn't think I was that talented to keep pushing that. And maybe I should have. You know what I mean? But I put that energy into making beats. So again, I just think that that's the thing that this new generation doesn't have because they grew up on everybody gets a trophy at the spelling bee. You know what I mean? The cool thing about the spelling bee back in our day, nigga, you only got one trophy. First prize.
That's it.
Second and third prize got a ribbon. The other 52 motherfuckers ain't get shit. You got to try harder next year.
Yeah. And
if you really wanted that trophy, you tried harder. You was at the kitchen table. Your mom asked me how to spell this word. Yo, dad, I can spell this. You're working harder. You know what I mean? Whereas this generation, everybody gets a trophy. So at the end of the day, why even bother to work harder? Because I already got the trophy.
Right. Look, just real quick, let me get my old man back. But to your point with everybody gets a trophy, I remember when I was in my senior year of high school, my counselor put me in like a business program. And at the whole program was, at the end of this, one person gets a scholarship out of the 10 people. So I was kind of like, cool. I was kind of doing it because she said it or whatever. But why did they didn't decide and just send you a note or come to your house or some shit and say you're the winner. They did the shit at graduation. They said, everybody stand up and the scholarship goes to, and I thought that was kind of foul because I was like, damn, what if I lose my fucking family up there and shit?
This character.
Right. Like it's going to be crazy. Fortunately, I won. And I didn't think I was going to win. But then I thought about the other people who I was cool with. And, you know, there were people who felt some kind of way, right? Like, why the fuck he won? He was always out and shit. But that's what it was. It was like, yo, you put your best foot forward. You know, the best will win. Sometimes the best don't win. But at the end of the day, it's all about those different challenges. And like you said about, leaning into the beats, I know a couple of cats who used to rhyme, who weren't the greatest at rhyming, who became phenomenal at making beats to the point where it didn't matter if they couldn't rhyme. It was kind of like, this nigga got heat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there you go.
And I mean, I think it's too, it's this newer generation doesn't have that perseverance gene. You know what I mean? It's almost like Kevin Durant. Like, damn, Golden State beat us. Fuck it, I'm gonna go join them. Like when that happened, across every message board, across every sports channel, it was Magic would never have done. Jordan would never have joined Detroit. Like, this new generation doesn't want to persevere through 2 and 3 years of not making it to the playoffs. You know what I mean? Jordan had to deal with that shit. You know what I mean? Not making it to the playoffs. So, I mean, not getting past the second round and not getting to the finals. And you just have to keep going. And I don't think this new generation really grasps that they don't have that gene to just keep going. You know what I mean? It's like, well, quit and just do something else. And I mean, again, myself, but here's the thing, like, even before I quit rhyming, I had been rhyming for probably about 3 years. And I just knew, being around top better MCs, that rapping just wasn't my shit. You know what I mean? So it's not like I just wrote one rhyme and then I quit. No, I've been rhyming since high school. You know what I mean? But getting to college, and like Vegas said, you be in these ciphers, nigga, you can look around and see you're not that good. Tone, awareness. You go to an ABCD camp, you can look around and see I'm not as good as these other guys out here playing basketball. So don't mean you gotta quit, but whatever. Well, I'm gonna switch up the order. What you got next, bro?
Mine is an R&B one, and it's ballads. Like, I don't hear them no more. Like, and if they are, there's something like that somebody got put me on, or somebody from the underground is doing it. But like, mainstream wise, there's no ballads, and even when it's like a slow song, it's no imagination to it. It's straight, bitch, let me fuck. That's what, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's straight, you know what I mean? Like, think of all the great songs, ballads that we have in our memory. They're all like years and years ago. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we missing that, and it kind of piggybacks on a lot of the groups gave us really good ones. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have a lot of groups, but to think good ballads we don't have in R&B. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, it's just a thing that faded away for real.
Porsche, what you laughing at?
I'm laughing because every time you guys bring up R&B, you guys are pointing towards love is missing. And you guys make fun of me for loving love, but you guys all love love too.
They do.
For loving love. You just really love love a lot. I love love too. It's not as much as you love love.
Love.
Every time I hear you guys talk about it, I'm like,
right, man.
It's in there. They love love. It's just you guys just are saying it differently. I appreciate you.
But I feel you, Rel. I be asking my teens. I'm like, yo, back in my day, like, you put on a slow jam when a shorty come over. My kids like, oh, a slow jam. This kill, fuck you talking about. Nigga, nobody care about that shit no more. Like that was the cool thing. But you're right, bro. We don't got no ballads no more, man. Like, I was listening to my Best of Prince slow jams. I mean, you talking about Adore and Insatiable and Why Don't You Call? Like, it's just great songs. JR, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, as far as ballads too, I agree with that, but it also too, when we used to have our R&B artists sing power ballads to show how they were vocally talented. You know what I mean? So you had somebody like, who can I think? Like a Tevin Campbell, right? Yep. He's singing Tell Me What You Want Me to Do. That's a power ballad to show his talent. We don't have, and he went on the We Sound Crazy podcast and was like, where's the artist that's singing these power ballads? Where is our, I will always love you type of stuff? Where's that?
Because you know what, JR? The vocalists back then, they had to show they were vocalists.
That's right.
Like, I'm in this category. I'm going to hit this note like Mariah Carey or whatever the case may be. Like, look, so Janet Jackson might have been the type that wasn't a vocalist, but she danced. She showed her dancing and creativity off. when you had a Whitney Houston or a Mariah Carey, they were considered vocalists, even a Patti LaBelle or whatever. They gonna hit that high note or whatever and show you that talent. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you don't hear them pushing those boundaries anymore right now. You don't even get a great song like A Secret Garden with Barry White anymore. You don't have that kind of like Portia with love type song. We don't have that depth now in 2024.
Love.
Passion,
Right. I think the other piece too. I mean, hell, Rel and JR was just at the crib. We was listening to some. I got a couple of Pro Tools sessions of Teddy Pendergrass, and just listening to that dude, just the vocals alone. Like we just dropped all the music and we're just listening to Teddy. It was like yelling at people. Get your ass over here, you know. But
that shit
like you said,
that shit pulled me off. You put that shit on. As soon as you cut it on, turn them off. I said, God damn, he didn't even wait.
Teddy was gonna scare people. But I think it comes back to it goes back to talent. You know what I mean? It goes back to what Vague was saying about Hit-Boy. He has these different styles. That's talent. You know, a lot of these artists don't have talent. Like they're just enough to get by. You know, they're just enough to get hired. Like I used to do the hiring at my last job, and it's like you hire some great people, then you hire some people, and you realize they're just that they can do their job. That's all they're gonna be able to do. They're not gonna be able to, like, this singer can sing, but they're not gonna take you to church. And then Tony, you gotta also look at this. Most of the singers we grew up on, where'd they learn how to sing?
In church.
Mm-hmm. Not too many folk go to church anymore. No. So you're not being raised in the choir though. If you was raised in a black church for at least 10 years, nigga, you got a bachelor's degree in music.
Which is almost every black singer up until the last probably 20 years.
And that was your artist development right there.
You learned how to harmonize. You learned all that. That's why I said if you were raised in a black church in the 80s, nigga, you got a bachelor's degree in music.
That was Chitlin Circle, wasn't it?
Right. You got the bachelor's degree because the choir director was gonna make sure you was in unison.
Absolutely.
He was gonna make sure everybody was in the right notes. So if you ain't been to church, and again, it goes back to you don't have the skill, you don't have the polishing, you don't have any of that anymore. So you know, a lot of times we could just look at what did our artists have back then, and what you could just look at it right now. Well, they don't go to church. Well, there you go. That's half the battle right there. You know what I mean? So what you got up next, man?
So for me, what I miss though is songs with some length to it. What I mean by that is, what are 4-minute songs that for me to vibe to? 3 minutes and 45 seconds. I'm tired of these 1 minute and 57 second fucking songs, man. I can't even.
No fucking bridge.
Time I get no bridge, no hooks. Time I get into the damn song, it's just starting to fade out. Where
He said, by the time I get, I know the words. The song's over.
Song going off, man. All these damn 2-minute fucking songs, man, it's pissing me off. You know what I'm saying? Like, take y'all time, like Rail said. Y'all rushing these projects and these albums. Take your time and write a fucking song. Tired of these. What 2 verses? What a 3rd verse at? I need 3 verses on the song, man. Y'all got songs with 1 fucking verse. What other rhymes at? Or you know, it's just for me. I like a damn song that's good. I'm trying to ride to this shit, man. I start vibing. I'm like, shit is fading out. Fucking song over.
That's what that Benny Braun joint. That joint is
like
a verse and a half.
Give me some music, man.
The crazy thing is, I don't know if y'all remember. This was probably a couple of years ago. I had my 3rd verse challenge, and it basically was like, you know, I was like, yo, here's a beat, write a song with 3 verses. You know what I mean? And one dude reached out and was like, yo, OG, this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Like, he went to like he was taking some hip hop class at Berkeley or some fucking music school. He was like, man, my professor ain't never even pushed me this hard. And I'm like, nigga, all I did was say write a 3rd verse. Like, you act like I'm like, bro, God, what did your professor do? This is pushed the hardest you've ever been pushed. What's up, bro?
2 verses.
You want to know how crazy it is what you just said? My favorite song by Rakim, one of them is Know the Ledge. He gave you 4 verses.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
4 strong verses on that song. This man said, you asking him for 3 is the hardest thing he's ever done in his life. That's crazy. That's
but it shows how this generation is being raised because it's being raised on two. You know what I mean? Then another thing about this generation, again, we ain't dealing with the smartest generation. So I'm like, yo, you know, like your fucking first verse is like the intro to if you're writing a paper, and then the second verse is the body, and look at the third verse says in conclusion. Yeah. And it's like, in conclusion, I'm like, oh my god, have you motherfuckers going to school? Like, you don't know what in conclusion means? Like, and I always use I give you power and song cry. Without the third verse of I give you power, you don't know what happens. If Jay doesn't give you the third verse of song cry, you're like, well, did y'all stay together? Did y'all break up? Like, the third verse is in conclusion. This is what happens. This is how I'm gonna end this rhyme. But like you said, Tone, people, these short songs, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sitting here trying to look this up real quick. If I'm not mistaken, how fucking long is this song? Fucking Untitled is 7 minutes.
Oh.
And I enjoy all 7 minutes
yeah, absolutely.
of Untitled.
Yeah.
I don't want Untitled to be 4 minutes.
Look,
I don't want Untitled to be 2 minutes.
Erykah Badu track on Baduism is, I think it's called Drama. That shit like 8-9 minutes, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's a powerful, beautiful, just like Liberation on damn Equipment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that shit like 6 minutes long, man. And I mean, the way the singing at the end, I mean, that was perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Joe Budden will give you.
Oh yeah, Joe Budden will give you 15 minutes easy. Joe Budden song is 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Easy. And I mean, the thing that people may not even know about Untitled, the reason it cuts off like that is because they ran out of fucking tape.
Yep.
That's why I just stopped so abruptly.
I didn't know that.
They ran out of tape. Ran out of tape on It's Real.
Wow.
Like,
maybe
because they were playing
to go no further though. When you hear it, it might not. You didn't need any more after that.
Right. But it's just a testament to Tone, like you're saying. Where's that third verse? But again, I think people, the young boys have schooled me. Well, OG, I realize on Spotify, the shorter your songs, the more streams you can get. So again, now we're making these condensed songs to comply to Spotify to get more streams, which really ain't gonna make you no money. So I don't even understand why we trying to condense it. Hey, what you gonna say?
Well, that's not actually like a new concept for the record industry because maybe not hip hop, but back in the days, you think about a lot of those singles were very short. They were mostly hooked, to be honest. And I'm talking about, during the Motown days and all that, where everything was shorter. I think the difference today, like you said, with the kids saying, it's hard to do a third verse, they're not approaching these songs in the same ways. So they're not thinking about cleaning things up with a third verse because they're not even approaching it like that. If it's a female MC, the shit start with my pussy, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's all it's about, and it's not even unique, right? Like it's not even something.
They said, what do I need to conclude? Like it's concluded, my pussy. Like what are we talking about? Like.
Right, but if you listen to like Lil' Kim and Foxy and them back then, it was the same concept, right? Il Nana and all of that, but it was songs, right? It was third verses and all of that. But now it's just more like bullet points of things to say, usually in a verse, but mostly the hook is the only thing that's important because they're looking for the streams, like you said, but they're also looking for that TikTok bag. Once your joint go viral, you out of here. That has made people professional musicians or singers when they were like straight up independent or on the side because kids liked this song and decided they wanted to create a dance to it, and now it's crazy popular because everybody buying it. So,
right, good point. JR, what you got next, bro?
I was just gonna stay balanced. It's okay to have the stuff that we have out. It's cool, but where's the balance? You know what I mean? Like when the whole thing with, when Black Lives Matter, it was like, and when I was doing current R&B bangers, I loved it because it was like you had the young and the older artists making, power to the people type of records, which was great because it gave that balance. Then it seemed like that was the popular thing. Once that was done, everybody went back to normal again. And it was just like, y'all, did y'all not understand what y'all were doing here? There was a balance here. You know what I mean? You had people actually listening to your music to get something from it. Rather than that, yeah, we can party, we can do all that. Because me and Elise spoke about that on our show. we can say, yeah, we want to party, we want to do all that too, but then it was also a balance, like some conscience to it. You know what I mean? But now we just don't have that at all. Everything is just ratchet as hell. Nothing is mainstream wise. There's no balance anymore. You know what I mean? And that's a big problem. You know what I mean? So that's one of a big problem with balance and all that. So
I definitely agree with that. Pete, what you got up next?
Concepts. I feel like concepts are missing, and I'm not saying it's completely missing, because yes, there are the MCs that are my favorites right now. They execute concepts perfectly. Tracy Lee is a great example. Vegas, who's here, had Willmatic. Like these albums are concepts, they're conceptual, they're carried through from beginning to end, and everything is cohesive, sequenced, thought out. The content reflects that concept and it goes through. As Vegas was just saying, everything is bulleted now and everything is just kind of all over the place. And yes, there's like a really engaging and, eye-catching title and album art, but it doesn't carry through the whole album. There's a title track that kind of ties it in, but where is everything else that develops that title or that, whatever you were trying to say? There's no real cohesion with the content. And so I think for me, because I obviously have lyrical content, for me is my favorite thing about albums, hip-hop albums, even over production. So for me, I think that's missing so much across the board. There are pockets of it, and that's dope because all my favorite MCs do it very well, but I wish that there was just more of it and executed well.
Yeah, I concur. I think, a lot of this conversation is not going to just come back to Tone's word of awareness, but of, artists having talent. Like, to pull off a concept album, you got to have talent. Like, you gotta, be able to see the bigger picture, and like, you're playing chess. Like, you're seeing 3 steps ahead. And again, I just think if you asked the average basketball player to learn a triangle, they would fucking die. They would just pass out. Like, their brain would just melt. Like, nigga, come on. Like, so I don't know if the average artist has the skill to do that, but I agree. I want more albums, not mixtapes. And what I mean by that is that I feel like a lot of these artists make albums, but they're really just mixtapes. They're really just a mixtape. It's not really, I love Killer Mike's album because it felt like an album. When I put it on, it feels like an album. It sounds incredible. It's just an album. Like, I really don't know how to explain it to people.
It's engineered right and everything.
It sounds big. It sounds good. I mean, I was reading this article before it even came out. I think Killer Mike was saying he may have spent maybe $500,000 out of his own pocket, you know what I mean, to just get this album right and everything like that. And actually, God forbid, everybody pay the producers. He made an album, and I just feel like we just did the Best of 2023 show not even a month ago. I don't even remember what albums made it outside Killer Mike's, because I felt like I was just grabbing shit. Like, oh, I need 5 albums. Okay, give me that. Sure, give me that one. All I know is Killer Mike was number 1, and whatever was number 2 was fucking 5,000 miles behind Killer Mike's. Like, it was like not even close. And I felt that way about Gibbs' album, Sold So Separately. Like, I felt like that was a good album. But I just feel like most of these dudes drop albums and they're really just mixtapes. You know what I mean? I can't tell you again, Griselda. I probably can't name you 5 Conway songs, and I love Conway to death. But there aren't that many great hooks. I love Benny to death. Vay, can you give me another good hook besides Rubber Bands and Weight? Like, I really can't think of another Benny song that had a dope chorus that kind of like Rubber Bands and Weight, like had a bop to it. You could sing along to it. You know the name of the song. I love Tanner Talk 3. Full scholarship for Naomi in front of my face, nigga. Nigga, if I could name 5 songs, that's
the only one I go to. Like,
man, I got Rubber Bands and Weight. I'm hoping Alchemist did a remix to Rubber Bands and Weight. Did Hit-Boy do a remix to it? And I mean, again, it's no No, not because, like I said, Tan Talk 3 is a 5 mic classic to me. But I just feel like they're mixtapes, not fully made albums. And then the crazy part is when boys be like, "Oh, that was just my mixtape. Here comes my album." It sounds just like the mixtape. So it really. So again, I just think Killer Mike like really should teach a master class on making albums. You know what I mean? Like really, like this is what you do. This is what you do next. This is like, babe, when you talk about the album, like the features are right. You know what I mean? Like I feel like nowadays, like people just grab anybody. Yo, come on over here, be on a feature. But the Killer Mike features sounded good. They didn't sound off. It fit with the vibe of the album. Dave Chappelle talking in the beginning of the song, like it just felt good. And I don't get that feeling a lot. So that's what I got.
I think the difference is like well, Killer Mike is from our era, so he already knows what it takes to.
He went through the Outkast school of
right.
Yeah, he came up under the Outkast Dungeon Family school of making music. So
right, he probably don't know how to do it any other way, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point. Babe, what you got up next?
I got Love. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm gonna piggyback a little bit because Portia said publications, and I had like hip hop journalism, but I think this is related in the same ways. I think what college radio was for hip hop and music in general, as far as like breaking artists and giving them their shot, even if breaking them in a city, you know, for them to eventually become bigger one day. I think that's missing, and a lot of what we're saying, it just has more to do with the vibe of the internet, right? The internet is like Walmart on Black Friday, right? They fucking crack that damn door open, and now it's open. And now anybody can get money. People are becoming millionaires straight from doing shit in their crib with no know-how as far as like broadcasting or whatever. And the same thing with hip hop, right? It's easier to make the beats. It's more acceptable to have simple rhymes, and there's nothing wrong with some simple rhymes if it's catchy, right? If it connects with you. But at the same time, like Portia said, there used to be like this line you had to get through, right? Like a proving ground you had to get through, like the ciphers, and college radio was one way to go, get on the airwaves, talk to a city, display your skill in a freestyle, have them play your record, and it may not be the commercial radio station in the town, but the people who really cared, because most college radio stations are public radio stations, and public radio station is non-profit. So typically the content, you get more than just what's on the surface, right? More than the headline. You get a deeper, everything. It don't matter what the format is, whether it's news and talk or music. So a lot of times you got to learn more about these artists early, hear their music early, say you heard them, go back and tell people. But now everybody thinks they're that on the internet, right? Even just with a social media account. Like I see dudes and they got like hip hop historian on their tag, and I'm like, where'd you go to get that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, did they get, like, I started going into the hood bag, like, how many fights you had? They get like, what, how do you get that? You know, now I know in some cases you can, but at the end of the day, I see a lot of people who have these titles that they gave themselves, and they talk about hip hop in a certain way, but the DJ at the college station usually was ahead, right? If you were going to an underground hip hop show in a town that wasn't your town, you already knew why you were going there, because those were heads. You know what I'm saying? So they were going to ask you the right questions. They were going to test whatever. Their audience would be the same. And I just feel like that proving ground is missing, because now really all it takes, and this just speaks to some of these younger artists who became popular, is for your YouTube video to do millions of views. And that's it. You're validated. You're validated to the record industry, to any podcast interview you want to get, everything. And that's why they can't perform when they get on stage, because They were just on the block,
Right.
with a camera.
And you know what? When you said perform, Vegas, took me back what Tone was saying earlier. I need a rule that only niggas who are on this song can be on stage. Like, you look at these underground shows now, there are literally 35 people on the stage.
Yeah.
For absolutely no reason whatsoever. I'll let your videographer stay. Your videographer can stay. I know you got to throw something on the gram. I know you do. But the other 39 people, they got to go backstage. I don't know when that just became a thing. Just, if you are not rapping, please get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah,
like,
you're rapping or dancing. You're not rapping or dancing in the background.
It's just, and we know they ain't dancing, Tone.
We know they ain't doing that.
So just please, just stop with 800 people on the fucking stage. Like, please stop, man. JR, what you got up next, man?
Let's see. Shit, I think everybody said mine. Group, artist development, A&R, and real executives. Did we say that?
Real executives. I mean, kind of like the A&R, but
the A&R. Okay, yeah, we said that. Yeah, real artistry. Yeah, I said all mine. Mine is open said.
What about you, Tone?
Mine is. I would love to hear some memorable hooks again, man. Like with us growing up.
Good one.
Yeah. It was songs from LL and other people back then, and we still sing the hooks in the club. Or when you go to like an old school club or something like that. Like when the last time we heard like some dope hooks and hooks that we think will still be relevant in 15, 20, 30 years from now? Because we know, people our age, songs from 93, 94, the hooks still make sense right now. You know what I'm saying? But
if you are age and you throw on, what was that song, JR, about them little four niggas Heavy D brought out, Soul For Real?
Well, for real.
Yeah.
You throwing that joint, bro. You got people doing the dance steps and everything. Like, you singing Tell Me. Like you said, Tone, it's just dope hooks. You know?
That go for hip hop, R&B, or whatever. We had those hooks, man. You know what I'm saying? Heavy D songs. We just don't have that anymore. I haven't heard, maybe I'm missing something, but, I just haven't heard in the songs that I hear on the radio. The little bit of times I listen to the radio, it's like nothing moves me and shit. It all sounds like, if it's what's that Sexy Red? What's her name? Her name?
Don't give me a line.
One of these.
Sexy Red.
Oh, so there's like 10 of them.
Oh, wow.
So, and they're not saying nothing that's like, I don't know. Maybe we old and jaded because, I know Lil' Kim and Foxy, they all had hooks and stuff. Maybe they consider these hooks and stuff with Sexy Red and all of them. I just don't feel it. Maybe.
But but I think the problem is, Tony, again, you were making music around a lot of other talented people. Yeah. Like when you were in the studio, I'm sure people who was on Loud, I'm sure some of the Wu was maybe in an alcoholic session, or maybe the Alcoholics was in a Pete Rock session. You know what I mean? Like you had these other people that are around you to help you build out these songs. I'm sure. I mean, Puff, and that's what I loved about Puff, the way he put the Hitman together, because it was like, okay, we got these boom bap niggas with Nasheem and Ron, Ron Lawrence, and but then we got the middle niggas with D-Dot, and then I got the R&B niggas with Stevie J and Chucky. So we can help bring all of this stuff together. So, them niggas was gonna help you come up with a good hook. Because everybody don't have a good hook. The Roots would say for years, we don't have good hooks. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that Outkast had that the Roots never really had, like really good hooks. You know what I mean? But like you said, you throw on Miss Jackson, niggas are singing the fucking hook. You know what I mean?
Somebody like creative like Busta Rhymes. We don't have this generation's Busta Rhymes. We go back to my creativity and stuff like that. Where's that person at? Maybe it's somebody and I don't know about them, but that stands out like that. Is there anyone right now?
The only person I think of is that nigga from what's that group with Razcast son? Coast Contra. Okay. Like it's that one dude with the dreads who look kind of, he be wilding sometimes, but I mean that's the closest thing I can see from a Buster. But again, I just think we're in a generation where biting is not frowned upon, so you can bite. You know what I mean? Like you didn't bite because it was frowned upon, and that may ruin your career. So I gotta find a way to kind of do something different. Like I would love to ask Buster, like, what made you say rah like a dungeon dragon? Like where did that come from? What made Redman go to like I got cerebral palsy? Like what what were you doing to even think about cerebral palsy while you was writing a rhyme in the studio? Like those are the things I'm interested in. So again, that just being different thing, it's not built into these kids. Like, it's really, let's be the same. Like, let's look the same, let's dress the same, let's talk the same, let's do everything the same. So they don't have the perseverance gene, and they goddamn sure don't have the originalities gene, you know. So what were you gonna say, Bag?
No, I was gonna say, I think somebody touched on that earlier. You know, they're not inspired by anything else musically. Like for Busta, for example, I remember back when Leaders of the New School dropped, and I think they had an interview in like The Source or whatever, and you know, they were talking about his style or whatever, and you know, his style comes from dancehall, but he just happens to be rapping. And then when you think about dancehall, like, well, yeah, he kind of raps like a dancehall artist would chant, you know, in a lot of ways, but he's taking that inspiration and putting it into hip hop where it didn't really exist on that level, and that made him unique. Yep. These cats just see somebody and they're inspired to do the exact same thing as the person that's inspiring them, and everybody's doing it, and that's what makes it so trash. Because it's kind of like, I mean, you know, we from, especially in NY, but Kill, you notice, like, if my man got the same kicks, even if I love them shits, I'm not buying it.
Right. It's to the point, me and my man Rob, we couldn't go shopping together no more. Cause it's like, nah, nigga, I don't want you seeing what, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want you copping what I'm copping or whatever. It's like, it was that sense of originality. Like I said, I just think this generation doesn't have that gene to like really look and say, this is what I can do. You know what I mean? Or like, this is the style that I want to come with. You know, like, what made that would be a dope show to kind of interview people to just really, because I'm intrigued. Like, what made y'all do the Iggy? Like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, all these people with these different styles. Like, Kwame, what made you do the man we all know and love? You know what I mean? Like, how did these different styles come together? Because it's almost like you have to teach a masterclass on how to come up with your own style. You know what I mean? And I mean, I think that's just, again, these kids, we were raised like that. You know what I mean? Like, I was raised to say thank you. And I'm at McDonald's, it could be a 15-year-old girl, and I'm like, yes, ma'am. Like, I'm saying yes, ma'am to, I was just raised that, you know, you just say yes, ma'am to people like that. So they're not raised like, yo, let's be original. You know, what are we going to do different? When I started Apartment 5B, my biggest thing was, what's going to be different between this and every other hip hop podcast? Well, I want people to walk away learning something. Like, that's what I want this to be. I want this to be a place where you can come on, and I promise you will learn at least one thing, if not many more. You will learn at least one thing, because I learn shit every week from everybody. So I just think that's the thing, that people are just like, oh, the Joe Budden podcast, they always beefing. Let's do that. That's what I want to do. So Tone, you lazy. You don't pay attention. You be on your phone doing the podcast. Porsche, you be like, they just want to fight. They just want to emulate whatever is everybody else is doing. That's what they want to do, because it's all about the bag. That's really essentially what it comes down to. Like, starting live from the writer's bench, me and that wasn't thinking about no fucking money. It was just like, yo, we talk hip hop every day. Like, yo, let's start a podcast. Whereas I think the majority of people now start podcasts like, yo, I want to quit my job. Fuck that. I'm starting a podcast. Like, you know what I mean? Then I could quit my job. Like, so again, I think that originality trait just ain't there no more, man. It ain't there. I think, JR, you went, right? All right, Porsche, what you got for your last one, miss?
My last one, I don't know. I don't have like a term for it, but I wrote down criteria for hip hop. And what I mean by that is, I feel like things that aren't hip hop are being called hip hop. And I don't know what needs to happen. I don't know what it is that needs to be in place to kind of qualify things that are considered hip hop. Like, there may be music that's deemed hip hop right now that is better suited for the pop category, not naming any names. And I'm gonna let most do all my talking for me. But but what I'm saying is, like, when you hear things like there were no, I don't know, what was that stupid headline in 2023 about hip hop not having any album,
number one singles or something,
singles or something like that. And like when you actually kind of delve into what that is, like if you read about what criteria they're looking for to say that, it's things that chart. Well, things that chart are really popular music. That's what pop is. It's charting music. And I just find that it's being watered down. That's really what's happening, is that the culture is being watered down by this. Is that some artists should not be deemed hip hop artists, and I think that's missing. That I want to say control. It's a weird word, but the standard or qualifying nature of what is hip hop is missing from hip hop. If that makes sense. Maybe you guys.
So, do you think subgenres are better? Because what I personally like, I like the fact that at least for drill, they keep that shit over there. You know what I mean? Like, if they'll be like, oh, those are drill rappers, they killing each other. Like, they don't...
Like, drill to me is its own entity. Like, they've actually done such a good job of keeping
that away from hip-hop.
Yeah, and drill is... And I think we had I Am God on the show, and he was explaining, like, Chicago drill rap and
right.
That whole culture. And he was saying, like, it's not what you think it is everywhere else. Like, that's not what it is. And I think drill has done a really good job of keeping the entity for what it is and not involving it and allowing it to be changed or meddled with or anything like that. Like you said, they keep it over there, and that's what they want to do. And I think somewhere along the way, we stopped doing that with hip hop. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think everybody Tone and Vague have done this before, and it's kind of just like the way I look at rap and hip hop, which is based off of our radio stations. You know, so I just considered what Rap Attack played as rap music and what Strictly Hip Hop played as hip hop music. That's different for Tone. That may be different for Vague, which is different for Rel. So, like, to me, it's like when me and Tone talk now, we understand each other's language because he knows where I'm coming from. I see it from his point of view. So it's almost like, do you feel like people who are being considered hip hop are more pop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think here's the thing with, just for me, it's weird because I don't know is it time we did this show maybe 5 years ago? Is it time for subgenres? You know, Vague, you're a jazz dude. You know, you've worked at jazz stations. It's traditional jazz. It's modern jazz. It's jazz now has 5 different subgenres. You know, my mother likes traditional jazz, so she may not go to the, Kenny G show because that's not traditionalist jazz. So do you think that's what? Because I think to some extent, it's all. I don't want to say it's all hip hop. It's weird because
there will never be a time where someone is going to consider MOP pop music. There will never be a confusion on what MOP is within rap.
Here's the crazy thing, Porsche. Somebody told me on Twitter.
Oh God, please.
That MOP was pop because of Annie Up.
Okay, that's not true. That's
what?
Just true.
Yeah, somebody told me MOP was pop.
Annie Up.
Yeah, but again, it comes down, you remember, Porsche, we did this show, we named all like top 10 MCs or whatever like that, and I was like, what is your attributes? And I was on the show, and he said, my attributes, you don't have to write your own rhymes.
Right.
So when Drake came in his top 10, there was no reason to argue it, like, this nigga don't write. That's not part of his attributes. So that's why, to me, I'm always like, you really have better discussions when you define the word up front. You know what I mean? So for me, MOP is not pop. Because of Annie Up, because of one song. What you gonna say, Tom?
Well, my perspective has always been hip hop is the culture and rap is the music of the culture. You know what I mean? Just like breaking, graffiti, yada. So I look at it like that. Some of the rap is dope, some of the rap is whack. You know what I'm saying? Because we can do all these different, break it down and all these little sub genres and all this stuff. But to me, that's too much fucking work. That's just me personally. You know what I'm saying? Right. Rap is the music. Some rap gonna be popular rap, kind of going against what Portia, her perspective might a little different. Because for me, a song can be a rap song, just fucking popular as hell. You know what I'm saying? But if the person is rapping on the song, it's a rap song. It might go through the roof on the charts, and because commercialization in hip hop is nothing new. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you on that, Tone. I agree with you on that.
Okay, yeah.
Rap music can be popular. That's true.
Yeah,
But
if you're not rapping on the song, don't get me wrong, this is not a rap song, you know what I'm saying? But if there's an artist, and I'm not talking about nobody in particular, I'm just saying some artists will balance both. You know what I'm saying? There's songs where Kendrick Lamar might not rap at all on. It might be a pop song for Kendrick Lamar, but obviously he's an MC first before anything else. Because most of these guys got real popular. Most of them started in the underground. Most of them started rapping on fucking boom bap tracks. You know what I'm saying? You can date them all the way back to the beginning of their career. And that goes for J. Cole and Kendrick and Drake and all these guys. They started rapping on damn knife beats and Just Blaze beats, and they had the soul samples, and then some of them started venturing out and their music got popular. Some of them went against the grain and started singing, and Fonte did the same thing, you know what I'm saying? And nobody would say Fonte is not hip hop, you know what I'm saying? But Fonte literally got full albums of singing. You know what I'm saying? If you look at his first album, Charity Starts at Home, he literally has like 2 songs in there where he don't rap at all. You know what I'm saying? He sings, and then he turns around and does the Foreign Exchange and sings 3 albums. You know what I'm saying? So it's just.
But Tone, I'm wondering if people don't consider him pop because he's not popular.
He's not popular.
If he sold 1 million records, then people would probably be calling him pop, which is a whole nother discussion.
And that would be going against that as well. You're right. Because let's say, for example, Leave It All Behind would have went, because he got a Grammy now, but he didn't sell records like that. But let's say Leave It All Behind, which is a stellar album. Let's say it sold 5 million copies. And then let's say Charity Starts at Home sold 2 million, and then 2 or 3 of the songs on that album end up on the radio. There would be dudes on Twitter right now saying, Fonte done sold out. That nigga used to rap with Pooh and Knife One, did all the beats and all that, but now he doing this shit with podcasts with Questlove, and he got 5 #1 singles. And people will say Fonte not hip hop. And it's crazy to think about that because he's an MC's MC at heart. You know what I'm saying? But and that's the funny part about hip hop, man. Like,
it's almost like moving the goalpost. Like, most will say, I just saw something with most like at Fashion Week. Like,
it's funny.
It's like, but dog, you at Fashion Week, right? Like rapping for a whole bunch of white people, man, and you got songs where you singing, Most. So, but again, that was Most's opinion. Babe, what were you going to say? I'm sorry, Portia, you had something?
Hold on,
Babe, what were you going to say?
Hold on. Does the singing part, like, you keep saying singing, like, that's what, how do I put this? So, like,
is that what makes people say they're pop?
Like, if they have a song where they're singing, like, Most has the what's the song? The Panties.
What he says. I mean, that may be his biggest song.
Really? Yeah.
But does that scream pop to you? Like, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
We'll see. Here's the thing.
Say the other guys pop. Like, I'll give you an example. When people say the guy that Portia doesn't like is pop, and
man, you can say Drake.
Like Hotline Bling. Like, Hotline Bling, that sounds like a pop song to me. You know what I'm saying? But Umi Says does not sound like a pop song. But he's singing on it. You feel what I'm saying?
Because one is a rapper and one is a pop star. Rel, that's what it is.
No, I can't go that far. I can't go that far. And we almost at the 2.5 hour mark. I don't want to get into it. We start talking about Drake. We about to tap out at 4 hours with Porsche. Okay, you gotta remember she on a different time zone. It's 8 o'clock where she at. She just getting warmed up, nigga. I'm tired. So we got to save that for another day. I think it's a good discussion, and what I would challenge people to do is, what is your definition of pop? Because that's the thing. Everybody's gonna have a different definition. There's gonna be some person that says if you sing, that equals pop, off the rip. Another person may say if you like, Hotline. I don't. You know what it is, man. With all these subgenres, I get confused because the older I got, I just look at it as if I like it, I just fucking like it. I guess Hotline Bling is pop. I fucking love Hotline Bling when it came out, but I guess it's pop. I don't know. But then there's somebody else that's going to say, well, it's pop if it did this well on the chart. So everybody would have to say, this is what my definition of pop music is. When I think of pop, I think of Taylor Swift. I don't know if Taylor Swift and fucking Hotline Bling belong in the same category. Somebody may say they do. So
I think
Porsche says they belong in the same
The
category.
difference would be Taylor Swift don't rap. Drake does still rap. You can't say he doesn't rap. He still rap.
And Greg, what you gonna say?
He does both.
No, I was gonna comment on the subgenre thing. I think like talking about jazz, right? Jazz has all these categories: contemporary, fusion, and all of that. Hip hop is young, and I think people forget that, right? So in a lot of ways, the battle of what's straight ahead and what's mainstream and what's garbage and what's not, it's gonna happen forever. There are subgenres. That stuff was created mostly by record labels and not by the jazz musicians, because if you go back and listen to a lot of them, they called that music black classical. They called it everything but jazz. Jazz was a term that was placed upon it in the same way hip hop was.
Yeah, it was rebellion.
Grandmaster Caz talk about it.
Yeah.
He called it some other shit, some old shit that when he said it, I remembered it. Like, oh yeah, we was just freeforming. I'm like, oh yeah, like I forgot. That's how those
the term hip hop wasn't there yet.
Right, hip hop wasn't the name. Like all these things kind of came as a way to put things in a category, and most artists don't like it anyway. And I think with Drake, like I said on my podcast, he's hip hop, but it's complicated because he kind of does both. You can't tell me.
I was gonna say that Scary Now Was 3. That Scary Now Was 3. I like it. That first song, I feel like Drake is putting in work.
You could go to Duppy Freestyle. Please tell me that's not hip hop, because it sounds like it to me. I know what Pusha T did after that, but at the end of the day, he's still doing hip hop, and he's not doing it in a in a R. Kelly kind of way, or like a Bobby Brown kind of way, or even Sorry Mary, You Too, in a way where it's like, oh, that's cute, don't rap. He could rap. So it's kind of like, for fans, you just pick what you like. I mean, jazz heads have no qualms about, I only mess with this. I only mess with Pharoah Sanders. I don't think you have to. And one last point, with drill rap in particular, first of all, shit's so dangerous. Right? Nobody want to claim it, but they're rapping. I'm sorry. They're rapping. It's all diss records half the time, but they're rapping. The music may be different. The flow may be different.
Lil Durk and Chief Keef considered drill rap?
Who?
Lil Durk and Chief Keef and all of them consider drill?
Maybe Chief Keef more than Durk, but all of them have done it. Like Durk, mostly that Chicago scene, and it didn't even start there. It started in Europe or whatever. So in a lot of ways, the subgenres are needed. It's just that, and Drake ain't the first one to do it, because I mean, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Fuck is that? That's not a rap album, right?
At all.
Not hip hop. It's like 2 rap songs in that album, but it's just like you said, Kill. You have the perfect solution. It's the same solution. If I press play and I like the shit, I don't give a fuck where it goes. Right. It's good. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's the hard part, because when you just asked that question, is Lil Durk is rapping, but then I was gonna say, but it's whack. But then does that make it not hip hop? So that's that. But that's why, like I said, it's everybody has their own. So like everybody would have to form like, what is their thing of pop, or what is not hip hop? Is just because somebody's whack, does that mean it's not hip hop? Like K9 Posse wasn't the best fucking rappers in the world, but they were still hip hop.
Of course there is. In every era, in every decade, there's whack hip hop. I don't think hip hop is.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about you, P. I'm just saying when Vegas was saying is Lil Durk rap, I was like, oh, but he whack. But then I'm like, shit. So is that how I look at things? Like if somebody is whack, Hammer was rapping. I would say this is a long show. So I would challenge us all to come back and think of what is each one of our individual definitions of what makes something pop. Because again, for somebody, their math equation is if you sing on a rap song, it's pop. I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's that person's definition. You know what I mean? Somebody else may say, like Poor said, if it charts if you're from on the top 10 of the charts, you're pop. Well, So if you're 11, I'm good. But if I move up in 3 weeks, then I'm pop. Like, so I'm hip hop if I'm over 10, but now I'm pop if I go up. So everybody has their own definition of what pop is. You know what I mean? And I think, again, not to be labeled a Drake. What you gonna say, Ralph?
I'm very interested to hear everybody's definition of pop, because some of the stuff that's getting named is like, I don't know, like Hammer.
But here's something that came up on the timeline the other day. Somebody's like, well, Kill was the shiny suit era pop.
Yes. It was.
See, and for me, I was like, to me, it was crossover rap.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't
It
see
was rapping over 80 samples. It was rapping over 80
because
samples.
I look at for me, and again, for me, when I think of the word pop, I think of white music. To be honest with you, that's just that's how I think of it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying how I think of it. So when Whitney was mad, when people was booing her, because like, why are you making this pop music?
Yeah.
It's like, why are you making this white music? So that's why when I think pop, the first person who comes to mind is Taylor Swift. So if I don't think this song can fit into a playlist with Taylor Swift, then I may not think it's pop. I don't know if they playing Shake You Off and then More Money, More Problems. Somebody else may be like, hey, anything that's on the radio is pop. You see what I mean? So everybody's gonna have a this is why somebody said MOP is pop, because Annie Up is at the radio, it's at the wrestling events, it's everywhere. And I'm just like, again, for that person, it's a simple math equation. If you are on the radio, then you are pop. I don't care.
Go ahead, my fault.
The MOP,
again,
the MOP example, anybody can say that.
But again, this is how you learn. We don't speak the same language. When I went to Cancun, I can't speak Spanish. Tanya and they talking to everybody. I say hola. Motherfuckers try to talk to me. I get confused. So my ass just spoke English. I don't speak your language. And this is where things get frustrating, because if you're trying to talk to somebody who doesn't speak your language, it's a very frustrating conversation. You're trying to get them to understand you. They're trying to get you to understand them. And you just end up walking the fuck away. And that's really what Twitter and a lot of these discussions are, is because we don't speak the same language. So when that nigga said MOP is pop, I knew from the rip. Yeah. Me and you don't speak the same language. So I'm going to just walk away. We just going to end this right now. It's not even worth the debate. It's not worth the discussion. We don't speak the same language, so let's just walk away, because all we gonna do is get frustrated with each other. I ain't gonna learn Spanish the week that I'm staying in Cancun. You ain't gonna learn English the week that I'm here. So you know what? We just gonna give thumbs up and no, I don't need nothing for my room. And here's your tip for the day. Like, and keep it moving, because we don't speak the same language. You know?
You gotta get the app. Translate the app.
You're right. That's what we need on Twitter, a translator app. You said MOP is pop. Okay, like, what are you really saying? Sorry, Porsche, what you said?
No, that's okay. I was just gonna say, like, for anyone kind of wondering what I mean is, if you watch certain shows, let's say on TV, on whatever channel, I watch real estate shows. In between, when they're showing like the scenery, like a drone view of the city, there will be like music that plays until it gets to like the realtor that's talking. Right. If you caption that caption will say hip hop music playing. This is not hip hop music. This is house. This is like electronic. This is rock. This is everything else but hip hop. So when I brought up this point, it wasn't specifically about Drake. I just brought that in because it's easy. What I meant was just in general, if we kind of take a moment to understand what is being deemed as hip hop, you would see that a lot of things that belong in very different genres are being put under the umbrella of hip hop. And I think it's because of the success of the culture and the genre.
Yeah,
that's
100%. Like, I am telling you, if you watch these real estate shows are doing it the most. Like, it's just always this weird, upbeat, electronic sounding, synthesized stuff. And you're like, why? Like, this sounds like a rave. And then underneath it captions hip hop music playing in those words, exactly verbatim. And I'm sitting there screaming at my TV, like, remove that caption. That is not fucking hip hop. Like, it's not. Sorry, I swore. I don't swear on this show.
Y'all done got Porsche pissed the fuck off. Yeah. Porsche's cursing, man. God damn it, we need a break now. We need a break, Porsche.
Anyways, that's all I want to say.
Who else got anything left? Porsche's cursing. Now we gotta go. Anybody, bro, you got anything left?
I had one more, but I'm good.
Oh, yo, you say real quick, man.
Mine was more addition by subtraction. The glorification of being a junkie needs to go.
Oh.
Oh, good one.
So I'm off
Like there were
12 perks. Yeah, I'm off 12 perks and 6 Xanax, and like, when did that become cool being a zombie, bro? Like that shit is like, and this is not to glorify this, but we respected when I was coming up the person that was dealing the drugs, not the one using it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Hey, Real. Speaking of, since we talked about most for a quick second, he did say hip hop went from selling crack to smoking it. So I mean, he was prophetic with that, because a lot of these rappers now, they look like junkies. And back then, for us, like to your point, the rappers like Rakim them look like the drug dealers. These dudes look like they smoking crack now.
Right.
And
it's crazy because the line I was talking about last week. Yeah, down Kensington Beach.
Man, like just zombies walking around.
But I mean, a lot of that even filtered into R&B with the Weeknd. When I Can't Feel My Face, like even they be doing drugs, like, you know what I mean. So it just, like you said, it became popular. A lot I was talking about EPMD from last week was when he said something like, "You smoke blow? Hell no, got my whole life ahead of me, no time to be sniffing. My parents found out, then I started riffing. Like, you wasn't smoking no blow, you wasn't doing that shit, you know, whereas now, you know, you are. Vague, you got anything left?
There's a section, to Real point again, there's a section of hip-hop that's like Night of Living Bassheads, like, you know what I'm saying, Public Enemy. You know, and it's real rap. You see these rap videos now, and even some of these posts on Twitter and Instagram, like, this dude look like a crackhead. This Pookie from New Jack City, you know what I'm saying? And as opposed to the way cats was back in even with Biggie and them back in the day, they had the Versace on. They was clean, you know, Nas and them clean, and even before them, Slick Rick Kane always looked good and all that. These guys don't want to do nothing with their hair anymore. They look dusty, you know what I'm saying? They look like dust heads, man.
Yeah.
You wonder why they crash out. Like, you got niggas catching cases and all type of shit. Like where we live right now, Kill and JR, like the DMV rappers, like they got a bad omen right now. All of them getting locked up or killed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's cool. Vague, you had anything left?
Yeah, I had one, but I think we kind of touched on it. But I think we did, but I just wish there were more people looking to evolve the culture in some way, and that goes to everything from hip-hop journalism to rappers to producers or whatever, because I think you could look at, and obviously, you know, history repeats itself and all that good stuff, but you could point to a Kendrick and say, okay, he's a combination of generations, including his, you know, so in a lot of ways he's helping to push the culture forward in a lot of ways, right? Or at least bring it back in some ways, but you just don't feel like anybody's trying to evolve the culture. They're just trying to exist within it and profit off of it, and that goes to the artists as well. And to what Portia was saying, right? Like, okay, hip hop is popular, right? Hip hop is pop now because it's the most popular music genre in the world. But you get a lot of people who are just existing within it. I'm pretty sure the person who did the closed caption, they're the same people where you put the closed caption on a hood movie with the B-roll background with dudes talking, and it's like black people speaking jive. And it's like, what? Like, no, they're not. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's hilarious. That's so true.
But they don't care. You know what I'm saying? They're not invested. They're just looking like, oh, I think it's hip hop. I think this is.
Because they're really detached from it.
Right. They're detached. Or the list, right? We see the list and we like, yo, what? Complex? Rolling Stones? Like, really? Y'all don't have any journalists with any kind of credibility in this? No. Because they're not really invested in music in general and music history and why this is groundbreaking versus this thing, or how this thing influenced. I remember I said, I mean, this doesn't really relate, but whatever. Every now and again I try to do the social media. I try to be social on social media. And I remember Killer Priest put out an album, and I thought that was garbage, to be honest, right? Because it was about trees and forests and shit. But I was like, I wonder if he was trying to, like, if he was inspired by Stevie Wonder's album, right? Like what the nature joint. So
Secret
I
Life of the Plants, yeah.
right. So I asked him because I'm thinking, well, he older, so he probably, he probably be looking for inspiration in different pockets. He didn't respond, but he goes live and everything is peace, peace, peace. And I'm like, these niggas just here. Like they just here making shit. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I can't relate to that. And I think that's our frustration with a lot of things we're mentioning because we can't really relate to things that are like fast food.
Right.
When we know what a home cooked meal
Yeah.
tastes and feels like. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right. Now, that's a good point. P, you got anything else left? I know you had like 20.
No. Everyone named all of them.
All right. The only thing else I had was like just competition, just friendly competition. I think like that kept making dope music. I think it was either RZA or Primo. The story goes one way or the other. Primo dropped the original, like, yo, I got an ill piano sample for you. RZA was like, oh, word, I got something for you. I got an ill piano sample. And he was talking about Cream. And this friendly competition that just was pushing iron sharpens iron, and I feel like that's what's missing. I don't know if it's what's missing because we don't have any spit kicker tours anymore. Like I said, I'm sure we get incredible hip hop in the 90s because if you got De La, Black Star, The Roots, the Bush Babies and fucking somebody else all on tour together, freestyling all the time. I don't know if people remember. I said this a long time ago. I said this next Nas album may be crazy because it's going on tour with Wu-Tang. And I don't know when's the last time that Nas was around a whole bunch of hip hop dudes like Wu-Tang on an entire tour. Like this shit may spark something in him to really do some shit like that. And because we're all living in silos, even us as adults right now. Like, you know what I mean? I had a ball with JR and Rel last week, just coming through the crib and just doing stuff. If we were still young, this shit would be happening every night. Like they would literally be coming to my house every night. Yep. You know what I mean? So it's hard to kind of get that off to really make great music if you're not really around other artists like that. So I think the Nas and Hit-Boy thing was great because they were always together. But I would love to ask Nas, like, yo, when's the last time you hung out with a rapper? Like, or when was the last time that being around somebody inspired you to pick up your pen? Same thing with Thought. Like, I mean, maybe it's different because he on Fallon. Well, I ain't no hip hop shit, but like, when's the last time you really hung around some rappers? Like, when's the last time you been in a cypher? Like, because again, it's just like I felt like that shit kept us sharp in the 90s. I was making beats because I wanted my OG at Kid Car Roots to say, good fucking job. He would say, kill your drums are trash. Fuck out of here, nigga. And I'd sit there in the room and just keep working and keep working and keep working. Roots, listen to this. All right, it's getting better. Oh, it's getting better. Okay, let me go back and keep working and keep working. I don't feel like there is a go back and keep working and keep working and keep working because the first beat I would have made with the drums trash, I would have uploaded that to SoundCloud. I would have sent it to Vegas. He would have rhymed on the shit, would have uploaded to SoundCloud. So how can I get better if I'm not being sharpened by other people who are dope? You know what I mean? And then these young motherfuckers don't want to listen to nobody. Niggas be sending me that shit all the time. I give some constructive criticism. I don't call nobody shit whack. It shit be whack. And niggas be feeling some kind of way, like, because I ain't love it. I have to tell niggas, stop sending me shit if you really don't want my advice. Like, you really just want me to say the shit is dope. And I'm not going to do that. So if you really don't, I'm never going to say, yo, the shit is whack without giving you something to do to fix it. Mm-hmm. But if you don't want that, then stop sending me shit. Like, but I think that's the thing. Like, I felt like our generation was like, yo, like, yeah, tell me what I got to do better, Roots. I want to make beats like you. So tell me what I got. Same thing with Ball. You find an old head on the block who nice. You like, yo, teach me that move. Like, I want to be nice like you. Like, so I just think that we don't have that. And I guess that's competition. And I feel like it's a little bit of mentorship. Like, I don't know if these rappers want mentorship. Like, Large Professor to me in some way mentored Nas. You know what I'm saying?
Nas admitted that.
Right. So, I mean, do we have who's mentoring Benny the Butcher, or who's really mentoring, 38 Special, or who's mentoring Ransom? Not saying that they need it because they're dope as is. I'm not saying that's what you need, but I don't know if Nas is the Nas we all know and love without Large Pro. So, I guess the mentoring piece is missing too. Rel, where can they get at you, good brother?
Uptown Rel 2 on 5 on Instagram. J-Bench where my shit. Y'all hear me?
Yeah, you was out for a minute, but I think you're good now.
Word.
Yeah.
All right, Uptown Road 215 on Twitter.
All right, we're working on the Rel Tresvant album. It's happening. We already got Vague on the track with us. You know what I mean? That joint's gonna be dope. You know, JR is helping the executive producer. So everything that people talked about on this episode, we're in the studio together. JR is executive producer because this is the Rel Soul Tape R&B album. So we got the R&B guru up in here with us. So it's coming together. Yeah, Tone, where can I get at you, bro?
Just
Hold on, Portia. It's love.
Hold on for a second. What you say, Rel?
There's love songs on this album.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Oh God, yes.
Good. Well, we got Portia's money, so there you go, man. All you had to do was say love. My fault, Tone. What were you saying?
Oh no, just tone it down.
All right, JR, let them know, man. Yo, I'm letting y'all know right now. Chris and Snoop is out here in these Twitter streets, and they throwing niggas' accounts in the vacants, okay? So stop posting music. I just was on Twitter today. These niggas just hit me with my account was locked for some shit. I just had to get it unlocked during the show over something. I don't know. So just know that you need to stop posting any type of music on Twitter. They coming for your ass. JR's, what is your new Twitter so people can get at you?
It's JR&B rap. Yeah.
All right. What do y'all have cooking up over there?
Oh yeah. When this comes out, our new episode, we talked about mint conditions from the Mint Factory. So we talked about that with Nelson.
Okay.
Yeah, just follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff.
All right, P, where can I get at you?
On Twitter at Shoshe
That's it?
That's it.
Not working on your new album or nothing?
No.
You know, Porsche, I got something for you after this, but I don't want to say it because people going to bite it, but whatever. Vague, where can I get at you, bro?
All right, you can follow me on social media. Check out my podcast. Hip Hop. Available on all audio podcast platforms.
All right, and y'all already know this. Kill 889 Twitter, IG. Y'all know me. I've been on my hip hop figure buying spree. Got this new piece in the other day. This joint, you got the ill Big L joint right here. You know what I mean? The dope Big L. And this is courtesy on Twitter. He is B-Boy Blacks. So B, then boy, then Blacks, BLACKZ. Very, very, he's got some dope stuff, man. Like he's got this Jay-Z piece right there from the Reasonable Doubt joint. He's really got some really dope stuff up here. So if you're definitely into some joints, where's this other joint I'm about to cop? He got a real dope Nipsey Hussle piece. He got this ill fucking Ghostface and Ray joint right there, which is real dope. So yeah, he's got some joints.
That's on Twitter?
Yeah, that's on Twitter. So B-Boy Blacks on Twitter. And I was trying to find his Blacks. Yeah, BLAKZ.
Okay.
But yeah, he's definitely got some joints on here. But like I said, this Big L joint, kind of crazy. So definitely, I don't know, I've been doing that. Kill 889 Twitter, IG. I will check y'all next week, good peoples.